A minute?
Yeah, why is Lexi calling me?
A minute? All right, I'm going to get something to drink then.
Mate, we literally just went live. What are you talking about? Right, did you just leave to go get something to drink? Oh my god. We've gone live. Why is she calling me? Oh. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Innocent Podcast, episode 15 of the podcast. We are here. It is I, your husbando Dreams, Q. And we're doing the new episode. Where we're focusing on the anime Blue Lock, which is so relevant right now because of the fact that the World Cup is on. And for those of you who know what the World Cup is, it's like this massive global phenomenon of sports that essentially happens every 4 years. Is it 4 years? I think it's every 4 years.
Wait, we started.
So you really thought that we had a minute to go? Your bitch ass left. Mate,
yeah, I did. You were like, but anything that comes out your mouth, I can't take seriously anymore. You know that?
Then what you should do is take me seriously all the time because you never know. You know,
my seriousness has so much, and after that, it's done. It's worn out.
You just have to just
up. It's all dried out. You know?
You just have to accept that I am the most serious person all the time.
No, you're not. Hello, people. Hello, listeners. Hello, listeners of posts.
You gotta say hello, governor. Crumpets and all.
Hello, governor.
Make sure to give a like, governor. You know, if you enjoy the podcast, even if you don't enjoy it.
Introduce us. So why are they gonna like us?
Oh, I introduced myself. I don't know about you.
Oh my god.
You're welcome to introduce your plebei self if you want to.
Look, listen. All right. Firstly, they know who I am. All right. You all have been here. I've been here since day one. You know. They know who I am. Hello, everyone listening in post. By the way, we're late. Well, everyone listening in post who's obviously we're not late. We're here whenever you need us. You know, because you know. You summon, you snap your fingers, we deliver, right? When we're here to deliver some good ass anime.
Well, we deliver, fam. No one snaps their finger at me. What are you talking about? Ain't nobody snapping their finger at me.
Look, listen. We deliver to all
they
viewers
snap at
listeners.
you. That's a you thing, not a we thing. That's a you thing, sir. Right?
No. Don't bring my kink into this, okay?
Top tier bandos don't be snapped at, fam. No.
Yeah. Top tier. Fucking pathetic excuse.
Top tier.
Called a bando.
Quality bandos
by proxy
of dreams, right? Bandos of dreams. I'm just saying.
Bando of nightmares today.
Splendid.
You know, actually, I'll take the band of nightmares. Actually, now that I think about it. So everyone who's listening in post, obviously we're not late for you guys, but for everyone who is live, we are actually late.
30 minutes is not that. Look, here's the thing, guys, right?
Look,
we turned up on time, and I'll be honest with you guys.
I'll be honest
with you guys. You guys have two people to thank for this episode tonight, right? Because without those two people, this episode doesn't happen. And those two people are, right, Rare and Lexi. Without those two people, this episode does not happen. Not for me. Because your boy was asleep, right? I'm just putting it out there. I have been completely wiped out. My energy level was 0 for the entire day. I think I went to bed like after lunch, maybe. I made breakfast at lunchtime. And then after I made it, I started having these weird chest pains. And I just drank some water and I laid down. And I was just out for the rest of the day. Yeah, I pretty much died for like the rest of the day. That was it.
The freaking Dark Souls that you died.
I was not, and I'm 100% sure I know why that was. It's because last night I was eating a bunch of greasy ass shit. Like I had pizza last night, and then I had this oily pasta that Lexi made, and literally right after that I had this massive chest pain, and I just basically I somehow survived it. And then so the next morning after making eggs for breakfast with sausages and stuff like that, yeah, I think I almost killed myself, but. That being said, I have survived, and so have you, and here we are, right? Labalor. There's like 4 people in this chat, guys. Make sure viewing live right now. Make sure to like the podcast. It helps us. We need these things, right? How are we going to become the #1 for the World Cup without enough likes? The #1 anime podcast for the World Cup, you guys need to like this, right? Give us a like. Share this podcast.
Speaking of World Cup, real quick, it's actually currently, for those who might be listening, you know, maybe a month or two or maybe a year down the line. The World Cup is basically today on the recording of this podcast. Literally, I think I can speak for myself that I basically started watching it.
You watched the first match?
No, I started watching the anime.
Oh,
The World Cup. Bro, this is an anime. We ain't talking about football. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're here to talk about anime, okay? Which apparently this anime is all about football, but you know. But I think this was a great anime to actually suggest. And Q suggested, I'm not gonna take any recommendations for this one. This is all Q. If you guys, you know, if you're like me, you know, I'm not gonna say like, for me, normies like football. I'm not really a normie, but I do enjoy watching the World Cup myself. I haven't watched any of the matches yet, though. I plan to go back and watch them later, at some point. But
Splendor.
I'm not a big football enjoyer. Unlike our Mr. Husbando, or so self-proclaimed Husbando Dreams.
All you have to say is not that I'm not like the Husbando Dream. All you have to just say is I'm a homeless person, right? I'm a homeless person.
I actually can't fall in that category. So
I'm a homeless person with just access to the internet. I've secretly, you know, just snuck into some people's house, right?
7-Eleven.
Some random people's house, right? And that's
no, it's a 7-Eleven. It's a 7-Eleven.
Because the only people who don't like the World Cup, homeless people. I'm just saying, you know, because they don't have tellies to watch the World Cup, so they have to, you know, because they're homeless.
7-Eleven, I get 7-Eleven. I can watch it from 7-Eleven. That's I'm in my cardboard box, literally
homeless and down the place.
Yeah. Just sitting next to it, and then, you know, just enjoying myself, you know. So
yep. So we got the anime this week we got into was Blue Lock, which is essentially an anime based on these characters who wants to make it to the World Cup, right? I should say they're all young kids who are like playing in their youth teams and stuff like that, and they're all trying to do their thing. But I think the kicker is that they're all strikers. And then you have this guy who's like supposed to like get build the best striker for Japan going forward for the World Cup. And essentially, and that's a funny name for his character because he's bloody egotistic as hell. Love it.
Yeah. It's great.
But essentially, he basically has to build this perfect striker for their team, and he essentially.
By the way, sorry, Q. Before this anime, I didn't even know that striker was like a position in football. Just to let you know.
Are you serious?
Like I'm so uninterested in football. I did not know that.
Wow.
But continue. I just wanted to point out there's some people out there that just don't know shit about certain sports. You know, like I know that cricket, you hit a wicket and then you're the batter. You know, but I didn't know that there was like. I thought people just like were they just chose where they wanted to be on the football match, and I mean there's some tactics to it, but we'll talk more about that later on the other episodes. We should also probably mention that we're only talking about episode 1, but I don't want to interrupt you.
We could do up to episode 2 because I've seen episode 2 as well. So
we're doing episode 2 as well.
We could do 1 and 2 essentially, which I think it's better, even though 2 is more exposition more than anything else. Like it doesn't really introduce any. Like nothing happens in 2, essentially. They just talk a bit, and you introduce to this character who's like a midfielder who's supposed to be really great.
Hold the door. So wait, before you continue, spoiler warning.
Oh right? Yeah, definitely spoiler warning for this shit.
Spoiler warning for episode 2 and episode 1.
Yeah.
Because you know, Mr. Dreams over here has been dreaming and not watching anime instead. You know. So we're gonna be.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've been playing Pokemon Violet, the shit out of that game, Level. So yeah, I literally So
you're saying Pokemon over football? You know, I could agree with you on that. You know?
To be frank, like I was the one who picked the anime, told you, hey man, we're watching this week, and literally completely utterly forgot that we had podcast today. Like I was, with regards to me not feeling good, you know, just like completely energy drained, and also playing Pokemon at the same time. Yo, recipe for disaster. Absolute wet recipe for disaster. So yeah, that's just what it is. But that being said, these kids are all they're all like high schoolers, for their own football teams and stuff like that in their prefecture and whatever have you and so forth. And we're first introduced to this main character who's, again, he's not really the main character as far as I'm concerned. The real main character is my boy who has a monster on the inside. Right. So that being said, right. All those here for Team Bashkira, just saying, you know, top tier bando. I
have a new favorite character, but it's down the line, so I can't.
You can't say anything because you're
because I'm a better husbando. Yes,
you're ahead of the rest of us. Bando of dreams. Okay, so such is life. Not like anyone cares, you know. So so essentially, you're introduced to this character Isagi, who's supposedly the main character. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see me because there's no camera on, but yeah, he's supposedly the main.
We don't want to see you. Okay, no one asked to see you.
They do want to see me, right? I've just gotten up and I look not as splendiferous as I usually look, but still very splendiferous.
You got Yampy in your eye and shit.
I do have Yampy in my eyes, yeah, definitely. For those of you who are not Trini, you don't know what that is, but it's usually that sort of.
Don't tell them what it is. Let them Google it.
Google Yampy. If you Google Yampy, does it actually come up?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no Trini Google. Like,
actually,
look it up. Look it up.
YAMPI, right? Or
YAMPI. That's how I spell it.
Is it a Y or is it an I? I spell it with an I, but
you can spell it either way. I don't know. You tell me what comes up. I don't think anything is gonna come up though.
Yeah, in your eye. Oh, it does come up. It actually does come up.
Are you serious?
Mucus eyes. The most common reason your eyes produce this greenish gray mucus. Okay, we don't need to know all about that.
Did they say it comes from Trinidad and Trini people say this shit and no one else in the world?
Yeah, but it says Yampy in your eye. And then there's like people also ask, how do I get rid of goopy? So people actually, so the real word, because I don't know it's called goopy. I use it.
That's not the real word. The real word is Yampy. Screw this.
Yeah, you guys need to know that, you know, if you ever meet me and Q on some Comic-Con when we become, you know, famous podcasters, you know, well, you know, we're already famous, but, you know, more famous, I should say. And you guys want to ever meet us, you know, you guys will know the lingo. You'll be able to, you know, you'll be able to bust on some Trini talk with us and get exactly what we mean. Whilst all those fake non-listeners would, you know, they would obviously just quiver in fear and be like, huh? What did it mean? That sounds provocative. You know, and then all you true listeners would know what we mean. You know, that's where we put in some of these Trini stuff. Or if you have a Trini friend, you might be able to, you know, connect with them more, you know, and say, yeah, I do know what Yampy is now. I do know what Pum Pum is now. Okay, I guess most people know what Pum Pum is, but, you know, I'm not going to tell you guys that one. You guys need to go and search that one up yourselves.
Most people know it. I didn't have to explain that to anyone who I know who's not. You'd be surprised though, females know more what Pum Pum is than men. Like, and I mean that.
Well, yeah, because most men are.
I mean that outside of like outside of TT, like if you say Pum Pum to a male and a female, it's more likely the female's gonna know more so than the males. You know. So good lord. Speak of Pum Pum, you know, look what's in the chat already.
Chat? Oh yes. All the hot girls, yes.
How do we remove this shit?
You're the streamer. By the way, Miss AR typed, have you guys watched Blue Period? That sounds like a hentai for some reason. I don't know why I'm thinking of a hentai. That sounds like some kind of alien hentai. I don't know, like... I'm sorry, Miss AR. That was the... Ever seen a Blue Period? Oh, jeez.
Don't know about them kind of stuff,
I'm thinking about Blue Waffle.
Don't know about them. Don't know about them kind of things, fam. We know about.
Anyways, let's get back to the anime and stop talking about our accents and our.
That's a you thing. I keep telling you.
That's a you thing.
That's a you thing. That's not a we thing. That's a you thing.
You don't even say three. We both say tree.
Yeah, that's a you thing. Eh. And so.
Anyways.
So essentially, the main guy, he's in this football team playing for his club and all that kind of stuff. And my guy is running on the field. And this has happened to most of us who've played football before in our life. You run on the center and you can see the shot and you can take the shot possibly. And you think, you know what? There's a guy in a better position than me. I'll pass it to him. And the pleb does not finish. Like, he hits the post and you're like, what the mug of juice? And then the opposition team scores. And then they're down 2 goals instead of it being the 1-1, right? Which would have carried them into overtime, and then they could have played off, extra time. But
penalties, yeah.
Well, you'd have extra time first, then you could have penalty. So,
oh wait, I'm supposed to pretend I don't know shit about football, right? Fuck.
Pretend he doesn't know. You don't know anything about football. Don't pretend like you don't know. You don't know about anything about football. Love alert.
I don't. Good.
Coming out here with your lack of splendor, right? So, essentially, that's what happened, and where basically this guy's called up into this this sort of like special facility and stuff like that, where they're basically taking all of the top young strikers in the country, and they're putting them through a regiment where they play against each other and practice and do all these sort of like events and stuff like that, or tests. And they're gonna pick the best one, and the best one is gonna become Japan's top striker going forward, or whatever have you. The thing,
that's what they're saying. That's what you have to remember that Ego is saying a bunch of shit.
The thing though is that those who lose can never represent Japan ever again in the future. Love alert. Shame on you and your lack of splendor. Right? So apparently that's what's supposed to be happening anyway.
Hey, look, I don't wanna shame any other anime, but at least it's better than the high school anime we watch. I'm not gonna say the name of it because people need to go and watch that episode. But at least these consequences in this anime feel way more. You're not losing your life, but you're still losing your life, kinda, in a sense, or your dream, I guess.
You think there's more weight behind the consequences in this one?
Yeah, I definitely like that more. Not that you're bringing that up, but continue. I feel like
this should happen for like streamers, and then you will never stream again in your life, or BDO players. You better become the best BDO player, or you will never BDO ever again. And you see Rick crying in the corner. No, I've always wanted to be a top BDO bando. Shame on me. Oh, the horrors.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Talking about BDO makes me cringe.
BDO, just the word BDO makes me cringe, to be honest,
So stop saying it and let me say it. All right, guys, let me tell you about our Lord and Savior. This stream is sponsored by Black. Continue. You were on a roll, and it was actually fun to listen to. Go on.
So essentially, you introduced to these other guys in a group. The team they're in is ranked the lowest, right? So they group them into groups. I think it's 11 guys, and they're ranked the lowest. I mean, it makes sense. That's typical shonen anime shit for you. They're the bottom tier team, Beta Max, and they essentially have to then compete to make it up to the top rank. And you have the Band of Dream back it up, who has
also like some other anime we just
Nalu, what's going on, man? Welcome. Sorry?
I was just going to say, just like the other anime that we covered recently in a previous episode.
Which one is that? Anime. Why do you keep bringing that up? Why do you have a problem with Classroom of the Elite? I don't have an issue with Classroom of the Elite.
I don't have it.
Listen to the pitch in your voice, like,
there's no problem. Okay, there's no problem.
Like, put some bass in your voice, mate. Like, you're like,
there's no problem here. Okay, guys. No, but seriously, like, you want bass? No, but
drop that bass.
Drop the bass. So it's like Classroom of the Elite. Okay, that's all I have to say. It's everything is like that. You have the loser who becomes the one. Like we all know this is gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll be like, oh damn, it's like one of the like 3 anime that did that, where he's not the chosen one.
What do you think? What do you think about Monk Boy? Just
Monk Boy reminds me of another car. I'm just gonna say,
like, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
I never felt like learning his name because he seems like an unimportant character who's just going to be deleted, So for me, I just call him.
I know what happens. So
you do know what happens exactly. He's gonna
called Igarashi.
He's gonna like transcend and become one with Buddha, and at that point in time, he's gonna be brilliant, right?
He's gonna have the astral arms come out of his back,
exactly,
and hit you with the whole like
Hashirama from Naruto.
Okay.
He's gonna Hashirama Senju.
Let's drop the Naruto talk. Right. Anyways, how do I feel about Monk Boy? Yeah.
How do you feel about Monk Boy?
I don't know how much I can say, but he's annoying. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Oh, you wouldn't bando him?
No, I wouldn't fucking bando him, man. I'm straight as a whistle.
Oh, okay. Just asking. He's a top tier bando, isn't he?
Nah, he's only like your tier bandoism.
To be honest, I can't stand his character either. He's annoying, you know. That'd be at least for where I'm at. Like that's why I didn't even bother to learn his name. I was like, you are unimportant. Go to the bin where you belong. You trash tier bando. You out of my face.
Trash.
Trash tier bando. Coming up here trying to breathe my good bando air with your trashiness. Shameful display. So shameful display. Very shameful. Of that display, he was shameful. So. Essentially, you've got him, and then you've got a bunch of other guys in their group that are with them, that all have their own, I guess, hidden talent is the way that you want to look at it.
Their secret special technique.
The sauce that they put in
their Sharingan and their fucking Bankais and shit, but it's all football related, so it's like, you know, they can't become extreme. You know, I
think one of the things that really pulls me into this as well is they keep name dropping like real football athletes.
That's one of my questions. That's one of my first questions for you.
Yeah,
that I had that I was going to ask you later in the podcast.
What's the question?
Do you like that? Do you like that a lot? Like that,
yeah, I do. It's kind of one of the reasons.
You see them in anime format, like
there's like anime Neymar and anime Messi and anime Ronaldo. But you know, I think the thing is that's what brings people like fans into stuff like, for example, like games like FIFA and stuff. That's why those games sell so well. It's because of those sort of like I guess famous players and stuff that they have in the game. Because for example, in the football game space, we're just moving a little bit sideways to this what we're talking about, but it's connected. So don't get lost with me here, guys. Stay with me. Stick with me with this train of thought. But essentially, in football games, you essentially have they basically have like two big games that have been running the show for the longest while. For now, at least. There's supposed to be some others coming up that should compete with them, essentially. So essentially, the two games are FIFA and Konami's eFootball, which was previously called PES, right? Pro Evolution Soccer. And one of the biggest complaints people had about PES was that they didn't have the licenses. So a lot of the players didn't look like themselves. So some players would be missing like certain traits, and like maybe their hair didn't look the right way or their face didn't look the right way and all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the things people buy. And FIFA sold more because of the fact, not because it was a better game, but just because the players look like themselves. So in an anime like this, where you actually see the players look like themselves in the anime, that's huge. That is a huge selling point for this anime. Man, I learned one of my favorite actors has passed away. Ooh, sorry to hear it, buddy. Whistle can be bent. Who's this favorite actor of yours, Nalu? Who are we talking about? But yeah, essentially, that star power of those famous players is huge. And for me, I want to see more famous players. I want them to mention players that I recognize on the regular. You know, I want to see like Vinny Jr. or something, or my boy Christian Nkunku, you know, or Kareem the Dream. Oh,
they do mention more without saying who. I thought it was considered spoiler territory.
I mean, if they start talking about midfielders, they have to mention, you know, Kevin De Bruyne and stuff like that. I mean, if they mention midfielders and Luka Modric isn't mentioned, like shameful display, throw the whole anime away. But you know, I mean,
I'm scratching my head. Like,
drop a Freddy Valverde input in there and just, you know, long ranges. You know, when they start doing long ranges in the anime, you gotta do a Freddy Valverde episode. You know, like you know what? You guys don't know what I'm talking about. I'm the only one here who cares about football. Love alert.
I think it's enjoyable. I think it's enjoyable to hear how high people can be about kicking a plastic ball or leather ball or whatever it is. I think that's great.
I think it comes down to what, and this is why I say judge not, least you be judged yourself, right? I think it comes down to whatever you're into, right? Because like for example, you're into BDO, right? I can't understand why people play MMOs. Like to me, it's boring. Like I do not enjoy MMOs because of the fact that I feel like at any point in time, the developers, because I did once buy an MMO before, and that MMO went under. And the problem is that
which MMO was this?
I can't remember the name of it. It was very old. It was back in the day. It came with a CD. That's how old it was. Like you had a disc. Shit. This was back in the day. Back in the day. And I remember I bought it just because of it had really cool box art and stuff like that. And I had like an old PC, and I was like, ooh, this looks great. I'll buy it in a game store. I didn't even know it was an MMO, you know?
Right.
But I just thought it was a game. I was like, feature my game, let's go. I looked at the case, it looked awesome. It was like JRPG. Yes. Like I got home and it was an MMO. It told me I had to sign up and all that kind of shit. The point is though, it went under. And when it went under, It was worthless and garbage. All time invested was a shame. And for me, that's for me is why I can't see myself playing MMOs, because I feel like at any point in time they could like close their servers and all the time I've invested in this will be for naught, you know. And whereas like with a game that I can play and all my progress stays on my console or PC or whatever have you, I've got a save file there. And even if the servers close, I can still play with people. Like, you know, some people open up these like bootleg servers that can run the game and stuff like that. I'll still be fine. And even I can still play the game by myself offline. I'm fine with that. And I say this fully knowing that the newer football games like eFootball and stuff like that are mostly online based and pretty much like MMO light-ish in that sense. But I think going full MMO, you know, it's like Tropic Thunder. You never go full. You just never go full MMO.
But the thing is with MMOs, if we want to like break onto this subject a little bit, I think, and don't get me wrong. First, I want to say actually,
holy shit! Nalu just before you continue, Nalu says the Green Ranger is dead from Power Rangers. Did he pass away? Holy shit! Wow, he was so cool. Oh my god.
Hey, Green Ranger was fucking cool as hell. Actually.
He was cool as hell. What did he pass away from? It's probably gonna be cardiac arrest or something. It's always cardiac arrest. That's what takes me. Holy shit, suicide. Wow. Suicide at 49 years old. Holy shit.
Damn.
How is it that these people who are so famous and have so much in life just it just shows you so much that it doesn't matter. Like everyone's chasing that high of having everything, you know, like, oh, I want to be rich like this guy and it's usually the rich folks who have everything. And I think there's a sweet spot though. It's about being rich but not being famous. I think that's it. I think rich and not famous, you live longer, you know. Rich and famous, odds are you probably don't make it. Yeah,
I think some things just, you know, it's like, I don't know, being gay. This sounds like really, we probably should be talking about this, but I see it as like,
is he gay or something?
No. I would no. What I mean, let me try to word it properly. So, in my opinion, I see like people who commit suicide, who have depression, as this thing where it's something. It could be like chemical. It could be their life. It could be like for example, I feel like, you know, I feel down because I don't have the amount of money and the lifestyle that I would like to live. I don't want to have, you know, sports cars and Ferraris and 15 waifus. Okay, maybe I want all of those things. But what I'm trying to say is, you can have all those things and something is not clicking for you. And a lot of the time, a lot of problems do come from lack of money. Like money does solve a lot of problems. But when money's not the problem, and then it's just, you know, maybe you have maybe like your kid don't like you for some reason, or something in your life just isn't the way you visioned it, I guess. You know, your I think something or even something like literally just in your brain that makes you who you are. Just, you know, you realize like, oh, you know, sadly this is not how I envision my life. It couldn't be like this, and I'm better off, you know, just not existing. Sadly,
I think and I understand. I empathize with that sort of viewpoint and everything. But I from my viewpoint on this sort of thing, it's sort of connected to a podcast I listened to a while ago. An episode on a podcast called Freakonomics Podcast. And they were doing an episode where they were talking about this guy who essentially and I think like stuff like certain things like suicide and stuff like that are much more associated with more developed countries, people who have a lot more than people who have less. The thing is that, and the reason I say this is because usually when people have more, when you're in a much more developed country, people compare themselves to other people a lot, right? And I see what Nalu's saying about family and all that kind of stuff with regards to this guy, Jason David Frank. And for those of you who are like why the fuck are you guys going on this tangent? We are gonna get back to Blue Lock in a sec. Let's just like address this. This is for the live people who show up, you know. Those of you who don't show up live.
Actually, Blue Lock does touch on like depression and.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna have stuff like that in it, but But so the point that I'm trying to make with and let me just see if I can get through this as quickly as possible. In this podcast, in this podcast, they had an episode where they were interviewing this guy who essentially he used to go. He was a missionary. He used to go to all these different countries, these less developed countries, trying to convince people from different tribes and all that kind of stuff to conform to Christianity. And he went to this tribe once, and he tried to convince the natives in this tribe to become Christians. And for whatever he tried, none of it worked. They just didn't give a shit. Now, he said his tribe, the people were just all happy and go lucky, but they didn't have a lot in life. You know, they were hunter gatherers and all that kind of stuff, but they were just the happiest people on the planet. And he was getting to this point where he's tried everything to try to convince them about their Lord and Savior. And so he decides to tell them this really sad story that always works. Every time he goes to submission, he always tells a story about his aunt who passed away, and she committed suicide. And he starts telling the story about his aunt, and he said usually when he tells the story, it moves people because he tells them, like if it wasn't for God, he wouldn't have made it through the whole ordeal of it all and all that kind of stuff. And so he starts telling this story about that, and in the end, the people start laughing, right? Instead of empathizing, they just start laughing. And so he's shocked because he's like, holy shit, like why are they laughing? Like this is the point. This is when they're supposed to start like emoting and it's like crying and feeling for me and stuff. They're not doing that. They are hysterically laughing, not just laughing, but hysterically. And so he asked them, why are you laughing, right? And they said to him, we don't kill ourselves. We kill animals. We kill deer and antelope and stuff for food and stuff like that. We kill animals and eat them, but we don't kill ourselves. Like that's ridiculous, right? And they just continue laughing. And he said for something about that changed his worldview, and he joined the tribe because these people were living the life, So for me, I think with the point I'm trying to make, what I gathered from that is that with more complexity of our existence, we live in very complex societies where we have so many cogs that are churning that tend to keep our existence going. We have our bills to pay. Like, for example, a lot of us living in Europe, the cost of energy has gone up, right? So you have your bills to pay at the end of the month, right? You have food to eat. You have all the hobbies and things that you are part of, games you play. Your favorite game could have stuff dropped from it or whatever have you. That could affect you in one way or the other and so forth. And then you have that sort of little comparison that human beings do with each other, where you look at your friends and your neighbors and people around you and where they're going in their lives. You have stuff like Facebook where you can see all the people that growing up and what they're doing in their lives, and then you compare it to your life and you're like, oh, they're doing great. I'm not doing great. And all these sort of stuff. All of this, along with just the famous people you follow and all that kind of stuff, it gets to you. Like, and I'm saying this as someone, it gets to me too sometimes. Sometimes I look at some of my friends and I see what they're doing in their lives, and I'm like, virgin hell, like my guy's doing this and I'm not doing this. And I'm sure there are other people who are looking at my life and saying, God damn it, my guy's doing this and I'm not doing this. And so I think the thing is,
even though it's just a fragmentary part of life that is a highlights. And your brain does process it and think, well, this must be happening all the time. And it's, I'm sure every human gets carried away with that, obviously.
I straight up, when you went up to Sweden last time and you posted on your Instagram, bro, I was like, bloody stinking hell, look at him traveling and going to Sweden, that bitch. Granted, I didn't say those words. But the point is that in that moment, I was thinking to myself, like, my God, I wish I was traveling right now. Look at Hans. He's hitting he's flying around, No, I wasn't upset for you, but I was, in my mind, I was like, I wish I was traveling at this particular point in time. I honestly wish I was on a plane going somewhere and so forth, and because I haven't traveled for the past 2 years. I have not been on a plane. So for me, it was like I missed it. And I was just looking at you traveling and I was sort of like, feeling for it, And now, granted, for me, it wasn't in an unhealthy way because obviously we're mates and I wasn't really too bothered by it that much. I was just it was sort of like an internal thing, and I learned how to cope with it for the most part. But Imagine for some people, it's just a lot more. I know exactly what you're saying, Q. I know you know, Nalu. We talk about stuff, buddy. You've been in my streams. You know how we do. But yeah, essentially, I think with all those factors together, because even like, for example, when you consider tribal people in some countries, they don't even consider death as a bad thing. Because even if we consider this guy's, this Jason David Frank guy, he lost his daughter, right, last year. And in some tribes, when their family or friends or whatever pass away, it is a celebration. Like, they celebrate because it's like, oh, you've moved on to the next plane, and it's all this sort of amazing thing, and they have a celebration. They're not crying, they're celebrating it. Whereas for us, and I include myself, for us, we lose someone that we really care about, and it is detrimental. It's like, it is the worst feeling ever, you know? Like, I worry about my family so much. Like, if anything happens, I completely crumble for the most part, right? Like, I remember one time we couldn't find our little one, right? Like, we basically our oldest comes in, and I think Lexi and I were just like hanging out in the office or something like that. He comes in and he's like, can't find the little one, right? And we're like, shit. So everyone gets up and we go looking around the house, and he's nowhere in sight. He starts crying. Lexi starts getting hysterical. And there I am. I have to keep it cool because, man of the house got to be like, mucho gusto. But I kid you not, inside my head, I was freaking out. Like, I had to keep a brave face the whole time so that I could just keep like my wits about me. Granted, he was here. He was literally just wrapped up in a blanket. He had gone to bed and like tucked himself into the blanket, and the way the blanket was on the bed, we assumed it was just the blanket and it wasn't him in there. But the point is that it freaked us out so much. Like, for me, I know how I was feeling, just like thinking like, holy shit, we were thinking like, did he get outside? Like, what happened? Is he stuck somewhere? Like, in my mind, I'm going through all like, and it's one of those things where I imagine all the worst scenarios, even though I don't want to. Like, and it's the reason why I'm so protective over the people I care about so much. Like, if you ask like Lexi or anyone who knows me personally, like I am the most overly protective person. Like I'm like, no, you can't go there. Oh, you can't eat from that. You're gonna get sick. Don't do that. No, you're gonna like literally. I am so overly protective about the people I care about and so forth in that sense. But then I also try to keep up a brave front about it. So with regards to that, I think it's a cultural thing and a societal thing why people do stuff like that. The other factors involved, mental health and all that kind of stuff, do have a part to play. But I feel like those things happen more so in cultures and societies like ours than others with less. Because when you have less, you don't really compare to others that have more. And you see this a lot with immigrants. Look at immigrants who come from foreign countries and immigrate to a new country. They usually statistically, they do better than the people of that country because immigrants know what it's like to have less. So when they come in and other people are complaining about specific things, the immigrants are loving it. They're like, bread is gonna buy £2. The regular schmegler people, they are like, holy shit, £2, the horrors, how will we survive? The immigrants like, what? I can have 2 bread this week instead of 1? Mucho gusto. Very nice. So it's basically a matter of perspective. Like, people who have more or come from a society of more want more, and people who have less, they want more, but the more that they want is not as much as the ones who have more, essentially. And that's kind of the thing. So it's all a comparison game, essentially. Human beings suck. La-di-da, swiddle. I'll be honest, I found out about your channel after I lost my fiance, so I feel glad that I found your channel. You know what, Nalu? Indeed, and I feel so glad that we found each other because you are splendiferous, and Nalu's has been so great. Like, honestly, without Nalu, I probably wouldn't be streaming anymore because like Nalu's been in the chat consistently, and sometimes I'm in the stream and I'm not feeling like doing it. Like, I'm just not having a good day. And Nalu just brightens up my day. Even like this podcast, like Rare gets me all hyped and stuff. When I come in here and I just think all the bad things I could say to him, all the slander, it makes me feel good about myself. It's beautiful. So back to our anime. Blue Lock.
I just wanted to say, with regards to Jason David Frank, did you say that he lost his daughter last year.
Yeah, like she passed away, I'm assuming.
Right. Okay.
So he lost his daughter and his wife. He and his wife were going through a divorce, and so
right. I mean that does add up, and
it does.
You know,
it does.
I think I agree with you though. The whole me wanting more and seeing more and less and whatever. That does change the perspective of how you view. I also think that even if you're from a third country, or a third world country, you can develop first world country mentality, and then also be kind of like you'll just be like an average first world country person, I guess, and develop these things. I haven't developed it because I see myself more from a third world country than from being from Sweden.
Sweden. So with Sweden and if Sweden, we remember when Sweden faced Trinidad and Tobago in the World Cup. Who were you backing?
Bro, honestly, I was in Trinidad and Tobago at the time. I had a parrot and we were at a bar called Shade. You probably know it if you've been to Tobago a few times.
Probably, yeah.
And it was my dad and my stepmom, and I don't remember if my sister was born yet. I think she was, because I remember my parrot and my sister having a quarrel. I don't know if she was around that time, but I'm pretty sure it was 2000 and when was this?
I think it was 2000 and was it 4 or something like that?
4, 5.
2002. I think it was 2002. I think it's 2002. I think. Because I think there was a World Cup in 2002.
Either way,
I'll check.
All I remember is I had my parrots and we were watching it in like this huge bar. It was like a big, like huge table. It was like it was like a big table, and there was like a bunch of tables on the outside. We were watching it on this big screen, and that was actually the first time I remember World Cup as well. And like that's my first memory of World Cup. And I was watching it, and honestly, I backed Trinidad and Tobago because I thought,
yes,
my country is so small. If they get to win, they might be able to come back and back again, and that would help our country a lot in terms of like, sounds very selfish, but it would be great to see Trinidad and Tobago play every year, and I would back them every fucking year. Even if the players aren't the best or whatever, we don't have any Neymar or any Cristiano Ronaldo, and all that other stuff. To be fair though, I am a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan. If we're talking about the Portuguese guy, and I actually became a fan when I saw him do a shot from he did this shot from midfield and ran and I saw the legs on this man and I thought, my God, this man is part horse, man, which is really crazy because there's a character in the show, but it's later down the line that you're gonna get to see, and he kind of he's actually my favorite character now. But I'm not he's in the cast already, but it's not gonna say too much more than that because it'll be spoiler territory at that point. But for those of you who are listening in posts and or in chat live currently, maybe now that might have seen the anime already, all of it, or is up to scratch like I am. You guys know who I'm probably talking about, but I won't say any names or even hair colors or anything. But
the Band of Dreams didn't see that. But I found the World Cup that Trinidad and Tobago was in, where we did play against Sweden, and England, which I wanted. Which was
very hard for me as well.
I wanted England to get kicked in the keister so bad, and actually, the England match got for most Trinis. The England match got so many people pissed. The Sweden match. The Sweden match was like we were cheering for the Sweden match because Zlatan was playing and somehow Shaka Hislop managed to keep Zlatan out of the game and we drew the match. It was a draw between Sweden and Trinidad and Tobago. So it was like, wow, okay. And Zlatan actually mentions he mentioned Shaka Hislop in his book, when he spoke about playing against Trinidad and Tobago, and that brought our countries closer, Trinidad and Tobago and Sweden,
Sweden, that's literally my two countries.
Just ambassadors of greatness, But unfortunately, the United Kingdom, England, Engaloo, and what's the funniest thing? Literally, whenever you go to sports events where England is playing against other countries from the Commonwealth, everyone hates England. Everyone backs against them. I remember when I played in the Commonwealth Games, when I participated in the Commonwealth Games for Trinidad and Tobago. Literally, everyone was against England winning. Literally, it was Wales was gunning against England. Ireland, Northern Ireland was gunning against England. Every Commonwealth country, Australia, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, we were all gunning for England because we're like, ugh. can't stand them. Yeah. So it was top tier. It was top tier hate. So, but the reason I would say for Trinidad and Tobago why we really can't stand England in the World Cup was because Peter Crouch, that scum bastard that he is, pulled upon that Trini player's hair. I can't remember his name. The guy with the dreads. Pulled the guy's dreads when he was about to score, and there was no pen. There was nothing. They didn't even kick Crouch off the field.
Wait, Crouch is an English player, or
he was an English forward, and he pulled like there was a Trini player who was a Trini striker who was about to score, and he jumped up and Crouch grabbed his dreads and pulled him down, and we're all watching this game and we're like, what the fudge? And that was the match against England. I think if that match if Crouch didn't pull his hair, I think Trinidad goes through the next round.
Goes through, yeah.
And Crouch pulled his hair, and they didn't call it, and it was agonizing. It was really, really agonizing because it was between essentially Trinidad and Tobago. Not even that we actually probably wouldn't have gone through because we lost to pretty much everyone. We only drew one match against Sweden, and Sweden went through with England. But essentially, England would have lost.
Who was the fourth country? I forgot.
Paraguay. Paraguay was the fourth country. Yeah.
Paraguay and Trinidad and Tobago fell off, right?
But if England hadn't, if they hadn't pulled our hair, right, and I felt it like instantly when that happened, I was so pissed. I hated that guy, Peter Crouch, so much. I couldn't even sign him in FIFA. I was like, disgusting. It's like, you scum.
Is he still playing?
Nah, he's retired. He's an old guy. He's retired now, so but anyway, that's the sort of
So Cristiano and all those guys played back then. Is that what you're telling me?
I think Cristiano was young back then. It's 2006. He was a wrong, but he would have been a young player at that point in time.
Yeah.
So, because Portugal was in the World Cup at that point in time, Poland was there. You had other countries and stuff like that, but the only countries that matter was Sweden and Trinidad and Tobago. Obviously, all the other countries sucked. Even though we didn't win any.
Well, I have to tell you, they haven't shown. Well, spoiler, not really spoiler, I guess, but they haven't shown Zlatan yet. So I'm looking.
Oh, you know what? When they do a Zlatan episode, it's gonna be brilliant. Zlatan.
I'm not gonna lie. I would be kind of excited to see him. I'm just like, oh shit! I hope they make his nose extra big. That'd be funny.
They have to make his nose extra big, and he's got to speak in the third person. He's got to be like, Zlatan does not concern himself with mortal stuff. Zlatan. because think about it like this, right? They're talking about this whole thing is about having an ego as a striker. Who has the biggest striker ego in the world? It's Zlatan and Cristiano Ronaldo. These guys have biggest egos, right? True. And even when people look at Messi and they think, oh, he's so meek and he's so small. Messi has a bloody ego. Have you seen Messi when you don't pass the ball to him? My guy is screaming on the pitch like, what the frack are you doing, you stinky poo? And I'm not talking about he used to do this. This is Messi now. Like, I've watched Messi play this season and my guy is shouting for the ball. Like, wow, the splendor.
Honestly, you have to hear me on this, right? Don't interrupt me because I need to get this across, right?
Go for it, my guy.
All right. So for me, you know how I feel about football, right? I do apologize. I don't feel this way now really about football. And I feel actually watching this anime has, if anything, has made me like football even more, which is crazy to think that we have come to a day and age where there's an anime football and there's someone who really doesn't really like football except for watching World Cup every now and then. Obviously, like when my country is playing, or the countries that, like, for example, I support England when, because my mom and my brothers are English and my mom is technically English.
Shameful display.
And for me to see these games, I don't think about, I watch it like a neutral, like, okay, they played good, okay, or the match is boring. I don't take into details all those other things that you literally just mentioned, which is crazy. And I obviously don't know like all the rules. I know if it the goalie like blocks it and it goes out on the side, it's like a corner and they can take a shot for free. Like those small things I understand, but for the most part, I'm not well versed at all. And I think it's cool that people like it. I think it's great that football exists. I hate when it becomes like a whole like race thing and shit, and people are like being racist towards like players or whatever. And this thing, I don't know if you know about the whole what's the country they're playing in right now for this World Cup?
Qatar.
The whole
Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar. Yeah, and we'll talk about that maybe off stream. I think it's a little like touchy subject in my opinion. I don't want to bring up for the podcast or slash stream, but I do have to say though, I think you pointing these things out, and then like how people have egos. I never thought about. I always thought about, okay, there's a bunch of the guys who do things that basically I can do with a ball. There's nothing really special about it. But then you think about it, and you think about the Olympics, because I have like more. Even I think my wife said, and she's Brazilian, and she said she has more respect for Olympians because they are like really try hard and they get that one chance, and you're on the field for like a few minutes. But those few minutes, man, and then I started to think about it, like how nervous I was, because I'm going to bring up video here. I do apologize. Real quick, I went into like this arena tournaments kind of thing for BDO, and I thought, man, I'm gonna dick people down. And then my place where I was supposed to play, the person who I was gonna play, got changed, and I got put into the very first match, and I was like, fuck, why me? Like, I was like, of course it's gonna be me that goes first, you know. I'm not gonna get a chance to see what, you know, like if I get like 1 or 2 games before me to see what they're doing in the game, I would have, because it's a best of class. It's not even like a class matchup. It's like you're playing against the same class as you. And I lost. I literally lost 0. It was like a best. It was like it's like they can change the money rounds, but it's like a Tekken match, right? It's like, you know, you lose 2 and then you lose the round, and then whoever loses is obviously out. And so the first one I actually do good. I play really good. I catch them and I do a bunch of stuff, and then I'm thinking to myself, like comparing it to a football player. So why I'm mentioning this is because I'm sitting and thinking, holy shit, like I was so high, like I was practicing for days, like they announced it like it's gonna happen like 2 weeks from now or some shit, right? And I go through it and I'm listening, and I'm watching like guides, listening to people on forums and this, and then there's like a whole chat, and then we're all in like this this Discord server that's just for like our class, and everyone who's gonna partake in it, and it's like anyone want to spar and stuff, and I was sparring and all kinds of shit, and this is nothing compared to what like Olympians do. And then I'm thinking about it, like watching this anime, and I'm thinking, I've been like shit talking footballers this whole time, thinking like, they get billions and billions of dollars for just kicking a leather ball, you know, which, I mean, technically that's what it is, but there is so much more to it because of how many people like it, how many people want to be in this position, especially something like a striker position, which I understand now is like, it's like the big dick position, you know, that's the one who's getting the goals, you know, that's the one you're going to watch and you're going to be like, yeah, he's the best. Like, and they talk about dribbling and stuff, which, you know, they do talk about in anime, but it's later down the line. But these are just like general football things that are not spoilery, right? So
you could talk about it. It's good. It's good. You know.
Yeah. But they talk about like how, and I think about Messi, how he can like juke people, like literally, like he's like running laps around certain players. You know, like if you put me in a field with Messi, I will never get the ball. I could play 1,000 hours and I would never get the ball from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll just be like,
he just dips his shoulder and he's going past you already.
Bro, yeah, and I'm just sitting there and I'm big, right? And I'm actually very fast. Like maybe like people think, oh yeah, he's big and he's slow. Like mate, have you seen a rhino run? Like you don't want to be in front of me, right? But that doesn't help me in football. You know, I mean,
I think a better analogy would, instead of a rhino, would be a hippo. Hippos are insanely quick, but they're big. You know,
well, you see, a hippo is like water based, and rhino is like
no. Hippos on ground. Like Google it. Hippos are ridiculously fast on ground.
No, I know, but they're not as fast and long distance as a rhino can be.
Is it?
Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Rhino would probably outpace and top speed. And also, rhinos are like hippos are they're very similar animals, but hippos are territorial. Rhinos are like, you know, like stampede motherfucker. Like they're the definition of a stampede, you know. Either way. Going back to the whole training and running laps on people and stuff, they do talk about this later on in the anime, which is a character that I really like. And if you're listening post, you know who probably I'm talking about already. But we'll get to that on that episode. So obviously make sure you guys like this episode right now. Just a little shout out to ourselves again. Like this episode. Make sure you subscribe, you know. Just hit the subscribe. It's for free, you know. Like the episode, it's for free, you know. And if you're listening on post and you're watching it from another website, give us a follow there as well, and then maybe come to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like us there, because you know, it's free. And if you really don't want to, you can always take it back for free. So please do that for us, because we really appreciate it. But back to me and training and BDO and no, not BDO. I guess more about football. So you have these people who are training super hard, and the thing is, one thing I thought about that I can actually compare it to, which happened just recently, was Worlds. Which for those of you who might not know, it's Worlds means like the World Cup, but for League of Legends. So I can say like LOL World Cup basically, but it's not like different countries. It's usually just like the 3 major countries that play the Worlds. But it's like Europe is like one, like Europe has its team. But they're not like specific. Like there's no like Swedish team like with only Swedes. It's like it's usually like maybe like a Swede, Danish, and maybe like a German and a English player or something in one team, and so on and so forth. But there's no limit to how many European teams. They just have like a limit depending on who is like their top players in their own brackets. So they'll go through like this whole process as well, which qualifies them for quote unquote Worlds. And then there's so much more that, for example, because I'm more into League esports. Like League is the only real esport I watched. I know there's like CS and Overwatch and all kind of stuff. I only really watch League, and I only really watch Worlds as well. So like the World Cup of that as well. And there's a player that is very popular. You guys who are gamers in chat, not like you, but the actual gamers.
Wow.
I know who the face of esports, I would say for the most part, at least for League, and I guess the face of League, obviously Tyler One and some of these streamers are really big. But most people would say Faker is probably the biggest. Faker is the Messi, or he's called the unkillable Demon King, and he's so hard to kill. And I even joke about it with my other Trini friend who is in love with League, and we both say like, oh yeah, he's it's actually a Warcraft reference that I told him and I had to explain to him for the meme, but I wouldn't go to and explain it to you guys here in chat. But it's like, what do you have to give in return to kill him? It's like you have to give everything. That's like the whole meme. It's like, okay, you killed him now because he's like the unkillable Demon King. So technically he's really hard to kill already. And then what do you get in return for killing? It's like you lose your base, you lose some minions. You 3 of your teammates have to die just to kill this one person, and this person has such great awareness of the game and obviously skills and stuff. And some people are talented, some people are young, some people are gifted. You obviously have better awareness and reaction and stuff when you're younger. That's why a lot of football players are very young when they start. These are things that just, no matter how good you are, that you lose them over time. Some people lose them faster than others. Some people are super good when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then they just drop off hard when they hit like 25 or whatever. And some people can keep going, for example, like Zlatan and stuff, and Cristiano, I guess.
I actually don't think, I disagree with some people. Like most players, the average player loses, like for example, goalkeepers. Goalkeepers actually get better as they get older. So goalkeepers in like their 30s are way better like than goalkeepers in their like their 20s and stuff like that. Like most of the goalkeepers hit their prime when they're like late 20s, early 30s, early to mid 30s. They're prime goalkeepers at that point in time, because it's a position where you it's all about positioning and thinking about where you put yourself in that net and how you save the ball and stuff like that. Even for some strikers, like I was watching an interview where one of the, there was a former forward who was talking about like when he played, and he remembers when he was younger, his coach would constantly kept telling him like, stop running around all the time, and like you think more and do less, And he said when he was younger, he never understood it. He never understood what the coach was talking about. And then when he got older, he said like one day it just clicked. And he just knew where he needed to be on the field rather than just constantly moving around. You look at players like Luka Modric, for example. Luka Modric is in his 30s. And he is one of the best playmakers in the world right now. And the thing is that he plays way better than playmakers in their 20s, because Modric can read the game like a book. Like the guy knows where he's the playmaker is basically the guy who's like playing the balls into the front. So he's in the middle of the field and he's pinging the ball back and forth between the back and the front of the field. So you pass the ball to Luka, and let's just say, for example, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo running ahead of him. Luka will wait for the perfect moment to play that ball over the top so that Cristiano Ronaldo can get that ball to put it in the net, and he'll put it in the exact spot it needs to be in. So it will dink right over the player defending and drop in that nice little window spot right between the keeper and the goal. So the keeper is not going to be able to get it, but Cristiano is going to be able to run onto it, and it's going to fall in such a perfect way that Ronaldo can just kick it nice and comfortably. He doesn't even have to do any extra work. That essentially is what a playmaker does. And position, again, similarly, with age, you become better at that position. At least for some of the best playmakers in the world, it happened for them. I'm not saying like you could be like 40 or something and still be a great playmaker. Usually by then your legs are gone. But in your 30s is probably when you're hitting your prime in, for some of those positions. I think for positions that require a lot of speed, those positions you probably don't. If you play in a high octane team and your team is very counter-attack football and stuff like that, you can't. Excuse me, you can't do counter-attack football in your high 30s. Like, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo can't run as hard as he used to when he was younger. But if you play him as a focal point in a team where basically you're just pinging balls into him and he's going to put it into the net, he'll do fine. If you expect him to run up and down the field constantly, he's going to be trash because obviously he's a lot older. He's like 38 or something. Right? But he's still got his finishing and he still has his awareness and his positioning and knows where to be on the ball and where to put himself in the box for the most part. So that's going to be helpful to his game if he has the right team around him, essentially. You know, because he's got the ego, as this show goes on about, more than anything else. He's got the ego to take that shot instead of passing to someone else or doing anything. Like, he knows, he believes in himself so much. And you hear interviews about players like that and how they are the first to turn up for training and the last to leave. And they don't accept anything less. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, there was a recent interview that Paul Pogba gave, the French midfielder. And Pogba said, he said, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, he said, Ronaldo never compared himself to anyone else. He said, I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better than me. I'm my barometer. And he said, that guy turns up. He said he's the definition of professionalism. He turns up all the time. And I love the fact in episode 2, when you see he gets up and he's like, I can't be sleeping. I need to go and train, my guy. And then he comes out and he finds, he comes out and he finds Bakr is also thinking the same way. Bakr is like, I need to go out and train. I need to go and do that. And that's what sets you aside from being a top tier athlete to like just bare average, right?
Just bare, I see that. Yeah.
And so I love the angle this show is going for. And what you said about it being like this getting you into football, a lot of anime about sports have got me into sports that I otherwise was not interested in prior to that.
That's interesting.
So, like, for example, you watch a basketball anime and you're more likely to like watch real basketball after, or you watch a tennis anime and you're more into tennis. Like, for example, I'm into cycling and I watch the cycling anime, and they're like, and I love how they put like real world stuff in it. So in the cycling anime, they start talking about stuff like cadence and stuff like that. I knew none of that shit when I was like starting out. Now you ask me about that stuff, man. I know about cadence. I know about making sure how to clip in, and when I'm going down hills, I need to tuck into my saddle, and I use all the lingo. I use all the cycling lingo. I didn't used to use it before. I used to be like, it's the seat. No, it's not a seat. It's the saddle, my guy. The saddle, right? So, essentially, basically, this anime, I think sports anime are great for that. Like, they have that sort of like shonen thing where it's like, you're battling and all that kind of cool stuff, and one against the world, kind of like, all the special abilities and all that kind of stuff. But then they also have like that realness to it that can connect to a real world sort of thing.
Like them animating that they're sweating all the damn time.
Yep.
Like not, and I'm not talking about that. Like Naruto did a Rasengan and he's like kind of sweating because the guy fucking blocked it and he's all like, oh shit. Like their faces are wet and they animate and they make sure that these people have stamina, that they have, sure that it wouldn't surprise me if someone did some Rasen bicycle kick and one of like the main protagonists later down the show. I'm not spoiling anything, just just me being a weeb and also being like realistic and also like liking to daydream, I guess. But it would be funny to see it because it's an anime at the end of the day. It's supposed to be anime. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about anime. But yeah, I just have to say I'm not a big fan of football, but I definitely like it more. I did like it when I'm a kind of person that I don't like football games, for example. I definitely like playing football in real life. Like is playing football fun? The fuck it is. Yeah. Am I envious that motherfuckers get paid a lot of money to play it? Yes. But I kind of understand that more now. So like 19-year-old me probably wouldn't even watch this anime. I would be like, Q, why the fuck did you recommend this? I ain't watching this shit, but you better choose something else fast before I slap you, fly over to England, slap you, and then fly back home, like you know what I mean? Like that would be my perspective on it now. Or then, sorry, but as opposed to now. But You said before that you didn't like Isanagi or the main character.
I never said I didn't like Isagi. I said my favorite is Bakura.
Right. Okay. You said that he wasn't the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that, if I may ask?
Because Bakura is more likable. He's awesome. Look at him. He's got blonde hair and he's got two colored hair and he's cool. He talks about there's a monster in him. Yes, my guy, monster leveler.
Yeah, okay.
He's pure personality.
I don't want to see. Oh man,
he's personality gold.
I have to say, I can't say much because I know what happens later. But I do have to say, guys, that we're talking like everyone listening, dear listeners, hello. We are, we could get more into stuff. But that's why we have another episode and maybe a third episode. Or I don't know if Q is gonna have us wrap it all up when it's finished, or if he wants to do up to episode 7, or if it's 8, and then we just finish the last ones later when they all compile again. But I do think that most of you guys who are listening, just be sure that there will be another episode. I can't promise it. If it's going to be next week, that will be up to Q to decide. I already seen it, so for me, it'd be great to just knock it out of the way.
Well, I'm definitely going to be watching the anime.
Yeah. I definitely think you would like it. So
I mean, here's the thing. I picked the anime because of the fact that, one, we've got the World Cup going on, and it's gonna be relevant for that.
That was Big Brain. I'll give you that.
And also, I picked the anime because it was on my watch list already. Like, I was already planning to watch this anime. So it was something that I was already thinking, oh, this should be cool, because someone mentioned it to me, and I said, that sounds like a good idea for a sports anime. And it turned out to be, yes, a good idea for a sports anime. So for that reason,
no, I was just gonna say, but are we gonna? Can we tell the viewers now? Maybe can they expect the next episode next week? Or
yeah, we could definitely do this for Wednesday. I'm down for this on Wednesday, definitely.
Sounds good. So you guys, there it is, guys. You
heard it here first.
There it is. You heard it here first from Mr. Q himself. The manager of this shit. Leveler. No, but I honestly think when you get to the other episodes, I can't wait to hear about the next episode. I didn't, when I first saw the first few seconds, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, Q. I didn't even think about like World Cup. I didn't even remember that World Cup was this year, or like it was gonna happen right now. I was just like, oh, fuck's sake, Q, man. Okay, and then I got into it and I'm like, damn. And then there's this character like, and damn. And I do think your character, so wait, actually, who is your favorite character now? Obviously it's that guy, but it's
Bakura. Bakura is my current favorite character.
I can't even ask you I can't even ask you like who the husbandos, or who would you want to put a husbando thingy for this?
The husbando of Dream is Bakura. Like I'm not even gonna put a poll
but
because
for other people,
who cares about other people? We all know Bakura is the husbando of Dreams in this.
But it's our viewers, man. You have to care about the viewers.
The viewers all agree with me. This has been confirmed in every other poll.
Says the guy that watched 2 episodes, by the way, Chad. He doesn't know. We'll leave his ignorance to be blissful. Okay, we'll leave it at that, because I want to say some shit, but it'll be spoiler territory, so I can't.
I think we to be all frank, I think we have to save it for future episodes to then do a Band of Dreams for this, because of the fact that the main characters they focused on in the first one was the white haired dude who gets kicked out pretty early. Right? My guy lost with his splendor. They talk about.
I liked it, by the way. I thought that was gonna be some like. No. Just sorry, because I'm interrupting you, but I thought they were gonna do some like. It's just gonna be them two in the last, like, because he's just there just to prove that it's stupid, and the other one is there, and it's like he has nothing to lose technically. So and he has everything to gain, right? And I thought that would be like a great like finale thing. So I'm like, bro, this I already see this is like the Sasuke Naruto. This the two rivals that are, and he gets kicked in the face and loses, and I'm just like,
yeah, I think his name is Kira. Kira is his name, and the way he loses too. Like he at first he's all like calm and he's smiley and he's happy, and then he loses and then he starts crying and losing his cool and acting like a pleb, and I was like, homeless, get out of here. I was like, get out of here with your homeless ass acting. Terrible. I'm just saying. But I mean, we haven't really been introduced to any of the other characters yet. I think more so we have seen a bit of Bakura, which I like, and we have seen a bit of Isagi, as well as the monk guy a little bit. So we can't really. I mean, personally, can't form an opinion on these characters just yet. I think after I've seen about 7 episodes to 12, I think it's gonna be easier. By the way, guys, if you think we're not checking the comments, I am seeing all the comments from Nalu and Miss AR and so forth. I personally am reading the comments. I just haven't responded to them as of yet. I think Nalu, you need to watch more of this anime, and you'll have no problems while I'm watching football. But yeah, don't know any players on any.
Sorry, could you read the comment for viewers to
Oh, so now this comment is my problem with watching soccer, as he calls it, but football.
What's that?
I don't know. It's some kind of pretend sport that the US plays. Is that I don't know.
Agree on something.
So my problem with watching that word. Oh. Holy shit, I choked on the mental I'm sucking on. Holy shit, I almost choked. Nally, you almost killed me, mate. Wow, I actually like swallowed it whole. It's stuck in my throat somehow. Going down, man.
Oh, whoa.
My problem.
Can we get an 01 chat?
Oh, whoa. So my problem with watching soccer is that I don't know any player on any team, and that's the thing where it's easy to get into, like especially for like the World Cup. Like my family were doing this thing where essentially we were betting on the games with each other. It's not an expensive bet. It's like £5, so it's not inexpensive for us. It's like it's a family bet. It's just for the fun of it, basically. And we're just basically picking teams based on, like, sometimes you just pick a team based on the look of their kit. You think, oh, this Dave got a nice kit, or maybe you just like that particular country or something.
Yeah.
And that's how we're
going.
So
who are you betting on then?
I can't tell you that.
Maybe you can't tell me that. What was this? Some kind of
my family's gonna hear, and then they're gonna know why.
Wait, but that's the point of the bet. You're supposed to say who you're betting on, so everyone knows, and then they all bet.
And then you guys are gonna know, and then they're gonna bet on me. To be honest, I want Argentina to win. I think Argentina takes it. I would love to see. I would honestly love to see Messi and Ronaldo in the finals, and I wouldn't mind Portugal and Argentina in the finals. Honestly, to me, that would be the ultimate finals. For me personally, because those two are like they're at the end of their careers. They're older. And they both have never won a World Cup, so I think for them, just for the pure star
that's
value.
Interesting. That is very interesting. You say that, but I won't say anything about that.
What do you mean? Is one of them injured or something?
No, it's anime. It's the anime related. We're back on anime. It's anime.
Okay. So yeah, so for me,
it's an anime thing,
For me, they having them play against each other would be the ultimate thing, essentially. That Messi and Ronaldo in the final together, that would be splendid for us. If not, I think a third favorite, I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't want England to win. Honestly, I really don't want England to win. I do back Wales as well. I like Wales. I've got a really cool mate from Wales. He's actually messaged me right now during the podcast, and his message says, "You about tonight?" Which he probably wants to play a match of eFootball with me.
Right.
So, but he's from Wales, and he's an esports player. He plays for he's basically signed with a club, an actual football club, because football clubs now sign eFootball players to represent them. So he recently signed for a club, if I'm correct, and they were like showing him off on their pitch and all that kind of stuff during the game. So, congratulations to my boy Carrot. So yeah, essentially, you basically have all these, and actually Carrot and I became mates specifically from an event like this. We were in a football tournament for eFootball, playing in the Commonwealth Games, and Carrot and I met. He was one of the first person I met when I got there, and we just chatted for a bit. I being my typical band of dream self, Carrot was just chill, and basically we faced off against each other, and I lost against Carrot. And the thing is, similar to you, I was thinking like, oh my god, I wish I had more time because I didn't sleep before I got there. I took a long train ride and all that kind of stuff, and I was exhausted.
Oh, you had to actually like be there in person.
Yeah, I had to be there in person. It was the Commonwealth Games. This was the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham that took place this year in I think it was in August or something. Like I was actually there representing Trinidad and Tobago. Like I had a full. I stayed in it was basically we had like our little World Cup village that we were in where we were staying in these dorms. And
Really?
I'm not kidding, bro. Like I had a Trini kit. Like I had a Trinidad and Tobago sent out like clothes for me to wear. So I had like a tracksuit with Trinidad and Tobago's logo on it and all that kind of stuff made by Puma.
Damn.
And
Damn.
I literally had I had like a backpack with the Trini stuff on it. I had some pins and stuff. It was a full on like tournament. It was like full on representing your country, and there were people from all these countries, from Jamaica, from Wales, from Gibraltar, from Ireland, from Northern Ireland, from Ireland, Republic of Ireland, from
one sec, Q. Sit-up says, have you seen Ao Ahi?
Is that a character?
I think that's an anime.
Oh, I haven't seen that. We haven't seen that anime yet, but we could put it on the list of stuff that we'll cover. So yeah, we could definitely consider that one. Sit up, and then we can talk about it in the future. I'll search it now and try putting it into the list of anime. Oh, it's a football anime. It is a football anime. It looks like a manga. Is it anime? It is an anime. Oh, I've seen this. I haven't watched the anime, but this is on it's on Crunchyroll. Okay. It's on Crunchyroll. Okay, I'm gonna add this to the list. This is gonna be good. This one has 24 episodes.
Might do it when World Cup is still around.
Yeah, we could still do it because the World Cup is gonna be going on for I think it's a month or something. And this one came out. This is a new anime because it aired between April the 9th, 2022, and September the 24th, 2022 for season 1 and season 2, which is 24 episodes in total. So that's actually pretty good. That is splendiferous. Okay, so that's on the list. Consider it covered in one of the upcoming episodes. We could probably do this after we're finished with this one that we're doing right now. We'll put that in there for the watching of dreams. And it also has English dub as well for us plebs who don't want to read subs at that point in time. So yeah,
I can't read.
Exactly. So as I was saying, so we put in this whole tournament and stuff like that, and that's how I met Kareth. We played against each other. I only won one match, to be honest. I got knocked out.
Damn, that's unlucky.
And honestly, we only played. Basically, I only played against two guys. That was it. Was it 2 matches? One against Kareth and one against this other guy, and then that was it. The competition was over because certain countries didn't show up, and so our bracket only had 3 teams. Right. Essentially, the guy I lost to was from New Zealand, and I won 1 match against him, and then he beat me in the other 2 matches. It was a knockout thing. And
wait, sorry, I have a question. So this is not you playing football in real life. This is eFootball.
This is the game that this is the game that I spend a shit ton. Like everyone who follows me on Instagram who's in my Discord and sees my Discord profile and sees he was playing this game all the time. That's the game. eFootball 2023. Right. Yeah, we were playing that in the tournament. And at the time when I joined in the tournament, the game had just come out and I hadn't been playing. And apparently all these guys who were in it, these guys were professionals. Like, my God. The guys who made it to the finals as well. And I think one of the best things about it as well, a lot of us became friends by the end of it. You know, like, for example, the guy who represents Gibraltar, Dean, such an amazing guy. Like we went out to dinner together. Like this is literally how amazing it was. Like we literally at the end of the tournament, the eFootball guys, we all met up. We went to dinner together. We dined. We hung out. Right? We drank.
You guys all have something in common, you know. Like
we were competing though. When we were in the competition, we were all at it. Like I remember when it came down to the knockout round, like. When like Dean lost to Kareth, right, for the bronze medal, right, and it was really hard to support either one of them because of the fact that like I knew both of them personally really well, and you know Kareth became like my best friend for the week that we were there because Kareth and I just hung out all the time, you know. We were also in the same block of flats that we were staying in, sort of like because it was in this big compound, but they had each country was on a separate floor by themselves, and I was the only one there from Trinidad and Tobago. So, but Wales was in the same block as us, so it meant I would see the Welsh players a lot, which included Kareth. So Kareth and I we became buds. Like we would hang out, we'd go for food together, that kind of stuff, and with Dean was just, whenever we hung out, like we went drinking and stuff, Dean was just the life of the party. He was just such a good guy. Like it's really, really fun, right? He's one of those people who has a fiery personality, you know? And I remember interviewing both of them before they played against each other. And between the two of them, I wanted Dean to win, despite the fact that Carrot is my boy. You know, it was like I want Dean to win, not because I want Carrot to lose, but I wanted Dean to win because when you heard Dean's story about, you know, it was his final chance to win at this thing, and you know he's an older guy, you know, he's got his daughter and all this sort of stuff. It's like, wow, what a story, right? What a touching story, a moving story. With Carrot had his own moving story as well, but Carrot is a much younger player, and so forth. So Carrot has a lot of space going forward. It's just like in the actual World Cup. Like, I do want some of the younger players to win the World Cup, like for example Vinicius Junior and players like Freddy Valverde and so forth. They're young players. But that being said, Messi and Ronaldo are older players, and this is probably their last World Cup. And that was essentially the same thing for Dean. It was his last tournament. Like he said, this was going to be my last tournament, essentially. And so for me, it was like, I want Dino to win it. You know, we were all like, yeah, I would love for also the thing as well, Gibraltar is a much smaller country. So Wales had a massive following. Like when Wales was playing, you had a whole crowd of people cheering for Carrot. Carrot had a whole contingency cheering for him. Dino, on the other hand, just had the representatives that came from his country with him, and well, me, you know. So essentially, when they played, I sat in the front and I was cheering for Dino. Now, granted, when the match was over and Carrot won at the end, and it was such an exhilarating match. Dino was in tears. Right.
Can you explain more about like everyone is like are you guys like is it like your guys?
This was a big arena. Like, this is like Worlds, like exactly like Worlds. Like I've like the arena. And here's the thing, right? This is actually you guys should already know about this because I filmed the entire experience and I've got a shit ton of footage on my computer that I've been planning to put together as like this sort of mini documentary series about my experience in this, and I haven't put it together yet. And guys like Dino and some have been asking me like, Q, when are you gonna put up the bloody stuff? And I'm like, I know, I'm just busy with life and shit. And anyway, the point is that's something to come. If you guys, you know, keep following me, at some point I'm gonna put it up on one of my accounts. But anyway, yeah, essentially it's a big arena. It's like Worlds. Like we had a big arena
with like a big screen.
This was live streamed and everything, with a big screen and everything. When they were announcing the countries and stuff with every flag, and they had a whole TV crew and everything like that. When they said Trinidad and Tobago, I was up there cheering for our country, you know. It was that big. It was huge. It was a
Did you like ball and stuff? And like
no, man, I was the only one from Trinidad and Tobago there. So I went around because I made friends. But this basically we played at the beginning of the week where we did like the knockouts, and then the big matches happened at this finals in this sort of like big arena. And right. When they came the time for them to call Trinidad and Tobago, because I had made friends with so many people there, I was like, guys, you guys know I'm here alone. Like, you guys gotta cheer for me. So all the other countries were like, we're gonna cheer for you, Q. We're gonna be there when they say Trinidad and Tobago. We're gonna be cheering for you. So we got the biggest cheer for the for the announcement. Granted, though, when Wales was announced right after Trinidad and Tobago, alphabetically speaking, and literally the announcers and stuff like that, the presentation team didn't realize that the Trinidad and Tobago cheers were still going on, and they announced Wales and no one knew. And so then it's all like they skipped Wales in a sense. But then we all clapped for Wales and stuff like that. We all cheered and stuff for Wales after the presentation. Because anyway, the point is, it was amazing. And the whole competitive spirit and all that kind of stuff, it creates a sort of like a friendship and a bond between the people in that sort of space. That being said, we were all out to like get each other. Like when we played against each other, it was no holds barred. Like I remember playing against Carrot and I was like, I just want to kick this guy's butt. Right. But I also remember like when we were finished, I was like, man, good game, GG, you know, and we should grab a bite, you know, like that's literally because when Dino lost his match against Carrot, I remember seeing Dino in tears. Carrot was in tears too, but for different reasons. But they embraced each other because we all hung out together. And that night, after the whole match and everything, when we got back from the arena, Carrot and Dino were out at the pub, both wasted, sitting together. They were both wasted and just hugging and laughing and cheering with each other. And And basically, Kareth and some of the guys, they bought Dino his own little trophy, and they were like, "This is for you, Dino." Like, that's the kind of brotherhood that we had there at the Commonwealth Games. It was brilliant, and even though the games are over, we still all communicate and stuff like that, and we've been planning to like it's crazy. And so that's the.
So are they ever doing another one, like at some points, like when maybe eFootball 2024 comes out or whatever?
They've got tournaments going on for the year. They've had some that have gone past for different things. I was supposed to go to some, but because of some personal reasons, I couldn't go. I couldn't attend. But I believe some of the other guys have gone. And so yeah, it was brilliant. It was. I have to say, the Commonwealth Games, brilliant. It's such a cool experience, and I can't wait to. I need to talk about this. I need to do a video. I need to put it together and put it out there for you guys to see it. It was a cool experience. I just haven't gotten around to like. It's a lot of footage though. Like, you guys think it's like, oh, it's so easy to put together footage and create something and stuff like that when you have a regular life, and you know what I'm talking about, Ray. You know what it's like to have a chibi around that you have to like, you know, do parent chibi stuff. It's like your brain switches off sometimes or whatever have you. And then when you do have a free moment, you can't think about doing anything that you're supposed to be doing. You're just like, oh, I just need to rest. I'm exhausted, you know? So yeah, that's essentially it for that kind of stuff. But I do need to put it out because it is important, and it has been. I want to put it out before this year is over. So look out for maybe before Christmas. I'll put out something amazing, and you guys can watch this little mini docu-series about my experience as an esports player. So yeah, that being said, it's related to this because the esports I played was football, and the rules are very similar to this thing. You have to have ego to win, and I feel like if I had more ego, I'd have done even better. There are times because there are moments when you're playing on the game, and like, for example, I've played against some of the guys and you're beating them, like you score a goal, right? And I can use Kareth as a good example. Whenever I play against Kareth and I score against him, Kareth gets like, he changes, like the way he plays, he gets intense, you know, and then he comes at me hard. I remember Kareth and I played a game the other night on eFootball, and I won the match. I won a match against him, right? And I'm telling you, Ray, Kareth was like, run it back one more. And just the tone he had and everything, I knew he was like, nah, man, like, I'm not ending the night on a loss.
I'm not taking this shit.
I'm not taking. And this is despite the fact that we play against each other a lot, and I've beaten Kareth before on another account that I have, but that's not with his main team. So I guess the Kareth is like, doesn't really matter, right? But when I play against his main team, I've never beaten his main team essentially up until that point. And then I beat it. And Kareth was like, the fuck is going on here? And he literally went all in on me. And I lost 3-0 to him. Like, it was that intense.
Damn.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, he's an intense guy. And I think that's the thing. It's about that ego. And he backs himself every time. And I think that's what a lot of top players do. And I think with regards to the guys in this anime in Blue Lock, they need to back themselves. As a striker, as a top striker, you have to think so single-mindedly about taking that shot when you get it. There are a lot of times, in football, they say indecision is fatal. And what it means is essentially that if you come up to the goal and you can't make your mind up, that split second that it takes, and there was that scene where that guy got knocked out in the beginning.
Yeah, the first scene. The
first scene where he got hit with a ball. And Ego was telling him, like, you should have, like, in that split second, you had 1 second before where you should have reacted, and Kira didn't react, and he just accepted it. That is what happens when you're playing. Like, I can see myself when I'm playing, and I'm playing on peak, right, where I'm beating players ranked in the top 1,000 in the world. Like, I beat the guy who was ranked, I think he's ranked like 40 something in the world or something in the game. And I remember that match. I remember playing that match. I was on the whole match. Like, it was intense because I couldn't switch my brain off. The whole time I had to just be like going. I couldn't rest. And I won the match, and it was intense, and it felt so good, right? It felt so good. It was like, oh my God, I just beat one of the top ranked guys in the world in this game. This is brilliant, right?
Right. That's crazy. That must feel, I mean, I could never imagine what that would be like.
It's exhilarating. It is exhilarating. Honestly, it is. And I think with these guys in the anime, I think that's probably what they go through. That's what you have to be to play like real football. And I've played real football before as well. Even like, for example, I've gone on and played a pickup game with my brother recently. And there's a point in time when someone passes a ball to me and I'm running on the line, and there's this defender rushing into me. And the split second between, I could have taken the shot as soon as the ball came in, and I'd probably gotten it around the defender. But I didn't trust myself, and so I was like, let me get like 2 more touches in. And it cost me, I didn't get the goal, right? So it's that sort of indecision, or where there are moments where I'll cross it to someone else instead of taking the shot. Well, I probably could have scored the shot if I took it, And I look at my brother, he was not thinking about that. He just was, when he got a shot, he took the shot like a boss, and he scored 2 goals that day. So it was awesome. So yeah, that's the thing. You gotta be a bit. You gotta have a bit of an ego. You have to have a killer instinct, essentially. So
yeah, oh yeah,
that's the
I
thing.
I can relate to that with mostly with League. Just on how me and my friend Richard he tells me how I play a certain role called AD carry, which is the marksman role, really well. And he tells me that he can see I have drive and stuff, and because we basically had a bunch of people who we were playing with that was from America, and we were saying that our AD carry the other person, because I play a different position normally. Basically I'm more of a midfielder instead of AD carries the striker, and he said the dude plays good, but he doesn't have the killer instinct, which is funny because you said that, because that's the same wording that Richard used. So I see what you're saying is what I'm trying to say in terms of that. I've never been there's this thing in Sweden we have called DreamHack. You probably know about it. It's this big LAN event, and I've never been there, and I've never been to an esports event ever in my life. I think any esports event, even if I'm not interested in the game, I would probably start getting interested, and I probably would enjoy it a lot. So, and being able to play, I think that would be even crazier.
I mean, if and I think we knew each other at the point in time when I did this. When I went to, we knew each other in August, right? So I'm saying if we had discussed this and you had expressed this much interest in it, I would have actually arranged for you to come join me in for the esports tournament, because you could have represented Trinidad and Tobago. They had a League of Legends the bracket that they needed League of Legends people for, but the team didn't turn up, and
shit.
And they literally...
Yeah, but you need a whole team though, right?
You would need a whole team. But that being said, you could have just turned up as my support. You could have been there with me. You could have hung out for the whole week.
Yeah, for sure.
And because you are Trini, so it's perfect, So it would have been super cool. But
you had to be from that country, right?
You had to be from that country, essentially. So,
right, okay.
And you are Trini, so it would have been easy for you to come in, represent your country, and be there with me, and we would have hung out for that week. Because everything was pretty much covered by the Trinidad, the esports committee of Trinidad and Tobago. They covered all the expenses and all that kind of stuff. And then in the dorms we were staying in, they covered all of our food, our board and everything like that, room and board. So basically, we just literally didn't really have to do for anything unless we wanted to. So yeah, and then the travel was covered by the Trinidad the Trinidad Esports Association. They covered the travel as well as our clothes and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So you would have got a free trip to
England.
To England, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like a round trip as well, or do I have to go back?
Yes, they literally. They covered my expenses to go to and from home, and taking a train from one side of the UK to the other side, it can be expensive.
Yeah,
it was. I think my train ride was it was somewhere close to 100 and something, but they covered the cost. So
that's crazy.
It was. They literally, and especially because Gibraltar is not that far from the not Gibraltar, sorry, Malta. They would have covered the cost easily.
Right.
Yeah, if we had known that if I'd known you were keen on this, I would have put your name forward. I'd be look, this guy has to come with me. He's important. He's my coach.
Well, I've probably shown more distaste to football, if anything, and stuff. But I think I'm getting. I think I've noticed this the past 1 to 2 years, that I just realized me arguing my point and trying to get certain things across. Before I was an actual psychopath, and now I'm more I don't actually fucking care. I'm so over certain arguments, and for me it's I like arguing. I think arguing is healthy to some degree, right? When there's no personal attacks and you let the other person speak, and you're just not trying to be rude or whatever. But there's some arguments that shouldn't be had, I guess, as well. But yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, it would have been fun. Definitely, I would have definitely supported it if I knew. But
yeah, I mean, granted, I found out at the last minute. They called me literally the week of, because they had I was a last minute call up essentially, because they had guys prepared for this thing, But you know, Trinidad and Tobago can be sometimes wishy-washy, and essentially,
bro, I know because we started this episode late because of Trini time. And if you guys don't know in chats, when I say Trini time, expect it to be a day later. If it's the same day, expect at least to be a 30 minutes later.
It wasn't even just the Trini time. It was like they literally said that they were gonna like cover the expense for the Trinidad government or something was supposed to cover the expense for the Trinidad team to go up, and they didn't. Right. And so the Esports Association guys, they pooled their money together to cover the expenses, but then they would have done it sooner, but they found out last minute. So the Trinidad Association said, "Oh, you get it," and then the last week of, they're like, "Yeah, sorry, we don't have it." And so at that point in time, they're like, "Holy shit!" They started scrambling together, trying to figure it out.
Shit. Okay.
And it just so happens the guys who run the association or who are a big part of it, I happen to know them pretty well, and they called me. Because one of the guys who's there, he's like a really good friend of mine. Like his missus is like my lady best friend from TT. So right. When we bonded over roti, by the way. But when it came up, he calls me up and he's like, "Q, like you're in the UK, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I need you for this," and I'm like, "Need me for what?" But when he asked, because it was him asking. And the relationship we had, I was like, "Bro, say no more. Like, just let me know where you need me." like even if they didn't cover the cost of it, I'd have gone anyway because I was already going to the event as press. So I was already invited as a member of the media to go. So essentially, I'd already purchased my tickets to be there, and they just reimbursed me. So yeah, I would have already been there essentially as a member of the press. But so I basically got to cover the event as press, and I got to participate. So while I was there, I had a lanyard for press, I had a lanyard for athlete, and I had a lanyard for staff because I bonded with the staff as well. So literally, I had every lanyard they had. It was the Infinity Gauntlet of lanyards that for me. So they were all different colors.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is essentially, and it was kind of like a blue lock kind of thing because we were all in this compound staying together and bonding and talking, but we were all competing against each other at the same time. We became friends, but when it came down to competition day, like we had to take each other out. That's basically it. So that's the thing. That's just basically what it was about at the end of the day. And for Nalu, the recommended anime that you recommended in the chat, I've already added them to the watch list, which is Blue Period, and what's the other one? Yourself as a
AR recommended Blue Period.
Sorry. Okay, and then I do do it yourself as well. Yeah, looks it's definitely good. So I've added them to the list. We'll check it out. So yeah, straight up. So anything else we want to talk about Blue Period? Because as I said, why does he say Blue Period? Blue Lock. Anything else you want to say about Blue Lock the anime? I honestly think I've said everything I need to say about it because I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I don't want to say much more. I don't want to say much more myself.
Mm-hmm. So we could save the rest for Wednesday and just go all ham on this.
Honestly, I feel like everyone who's listening, again, you guys need to come by. You guys need to be there, and you guys need to know that you're gonna miss out, and you're gonna want to hear what Q has to say because I am excited to hear what Q is gonna say. And obviously, I want to say a lot of shit myself, because that's what a podcast is, right?
Yeah.
Again, this is only for those of you listening currently. This is only up to episode 2. Just a quick reminder for those of you who just joined in chat and stuff, and here and supporting us. And you guys who are listening in post are probably just tired of me saying this all the time. But make sure you guys also don't forget to like and subscribe, and at least give us a like. At least give us a little. And if you subscribe and you don't think the anime we're talking about because you don't like Pokemans and
you're a crazy person. You're a crazy person. That's what it is.
God, anything else I wanted to say? How did you feel? Because you watched the first. Because I do want to get back on a little bit about the anime. Mm-hmm. I think I do have a few things to say.
Go for it.
You saw the whole knockout arena thing. How did you find Ego's approach to this? No. Let me rephrase a few more things. His approach, because you don't know much yet, but because for me in my head I'm thinking, and this is my big problem with I guess sports anime and I guess with football or whatever, but specifically in anime formats, is that how much more how much action can you show? Like you're going to show a team, they're going to get win or lose, and they can animate it. It can look very amazing. Like let's say they take a literal World Cup like finals or whatever, or a very popular game. I have a question I need to ask you as well. I have a question on my list. I need to write it down after. But I need to I'll write it down. Sorry, I need to go and read it after. Like if they animate maybe not a whole game, but like a very popular game that actually happened in real life, like an actual real football match. Like if they add that to the anime, I think that'd be crazy because you'd be able to see all the characters, you'd be able to see what's happening. Like because they do show some characters like pictures of them, so there's not much more than them, I guess, animating those characters and then putting their team inside of an actual episode in the show. Like it doesn't have to be like more than a few seconds, but it would be cool to see like, oh, I remember that one scene in World Cup, and then they show like Ronaldo or Messi dribbling past someone or some weird shit, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Like I think it'd be crazy to actually see it in animation. But what was my question?
I don't know. Forgot. You're the one with the question.
Oh, yes. How did you find Ego's first trial for them was? Because we can talk about that. I think that's important that we bring that up. I
thought the first trial made sense in the context.
It made sense, right?
Yeah, because of the fact like he made it very clear that this is like it's this the whole room and everything. I like the clever angle that they did with it. It was the size of an actual penalty box
square thing. Yeah.
And essentially, the fact that it came down to the last minute, and that impulse reaction that that guy was supposed to make was again very clever because of the fact that in a match it does come down to that impulse moment, and I see this as someone who plays like football games like eFootball, when it comes down to that last split second where you can take that shot or you may miss and all that kind of stuff. It does affect what you can do, like and also as someone who used to play football, not professionally, but I used to play for like my school and stuff like that. And a lot of times when it comes down to that split second, it's that moment when you could choose to, and I think this happens not just for a striker. I mean, obviously they're focusing on the striker in this anime. But
yeah, it's all about the striker. And
every other position, it matters. Like even as a defender, you have to think. Like you hear professional defenders, like talk about what it was like playing their matches and stuff like that. And you hear what they have to say about, it's about their positioning and where they place themselves on the field and all that kind of stuff before they make the tackle and all that kind of stuff. You look at the best defenders in the world, and it's that split second where they decide to like either cut back or rush in that matters so much, and I think it's the same for other positions as well. It's about making those decisions. Like as I mentioned before, like a midfielder, like a Luka Modric and stuff like that. They wait for that split second when they can like play that ball through for their main guy to like finish it. Whereas if you have what can I say? A player who's not that good, he's not going to make that decision in the key moment when it needs to be made. He's probably going to hold the ball a bit longer. He's probably going to pass it. Like you look at some teams, they pass side to side instead of like playing it over the top and getting it in front where they can actually use it. They're just going side to side, wasting time. Right, when they could actually go forward and attack, right? Get someone on the ball and do something with it. Put it to good use. But again, a lot of those teams, a lot of those players, they're just not good enough, And you look at the best players in the world, like for example, I'd actually recommend going and watching, for example, like 2000, I think it's the 2011's Barcelona team. I think it's between 2011 and 2013. That Barcelona team was broken good, and the what do you call it? What's the word for it? The way they played the ball and moved the ball around was brilliant. You had players like Xavi, you had Iniesta, you had Messi. These guys, they were just brilliant on the ball. And then for example, I remember we watched here at our house, we watched the Champions League final last year. And I think the final was Real Madrid against I think it was Manchester City, if I'm correct. I can't remember. And I remember watching the final, and I remember the match against Manchester City, where City had gone up against Real Madrid, right? And one of the things I was telling my chibi, he was watching it with me, because he was cheering for City because he just didn't want my team to win.
I'm guessing it's Zabi, right?
Yeah. So he's basically cheering for the opposite team. And I said to him, I was like, you never bet against Real Madrid. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter if they go down or they're losing or what, just don't bet against Real Madrid. And he didn't understand it until it actually happened in the match. And then you see the players in Real Madrid Real Madrid is considered to be the biggest football club in the world, right? Because Real Madrid have won the most Champions League, which is like the biggest club trophy you could win. They've won the most Champions League in the world, and they've done so much as a club. They are a massive institution, and the best players signed for Real Madrid over the years. You've had players like Cristiano Ronaldo. You've got Karim Benzema. You've got Zidane. You had Beckham. All these guys played for Real Madrid at some point or the other. Figo, whatever have you.
I did not know that.
Yeah, massive players.
It's actually good that you're so into football, so it can actually help us
with this particular anime.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good. That obviously I know the very popular people, and what team they might have played for, but some of that I wouldn't know everything about them, which is very interesting. I think it's very like I don't think I'm speaking for myself when I say this. Probably if like from what I understand, Nalo is also not into football, maybe, or
I don't. Nalo did say that he's not really into it.
Yeah. So for me, it's actually crazy that one of your I guess home viewers are also not into football. But I guess that doesn't mean we can't hang out or talk about it or
and I think that's what makes what having sports anime does. Like, sports anime helps soften the entry to stuff that you may not be interested in, and it gets you interested in that particular thing. Now, how interested you get depends on you as an individual, but it does make it easier to get into that, because of the fact, like, for me, I learned a lot about sports through games. Like, there are a lot of games I played, like for example, NFL Street. I learned more about NFL, about the NFL from NFL Street than I learned from actually watching the games, right?
Right.
Excuse me. I learned a lot about a lot of different sports. I learned a lot more about football from games like FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer than I learned from watching actual football. Actually, I got into actual football because of those games, right?
Right. I see.
So in the same way with anime, it does soften the blow, like I remember watching volleyball anime, and obviously, there are very nice cheeks in there. And I got into volleyball.
I think I know what anime that is. I've seen it. I've seen clips of it.
Very nice.
Well, I'm thinking maybe of the was it not? No, I was thinking of basketball. Sorry, no, I was thinking of the one with the men with the basketball.
Nah,
but I did see the volleyball one with the cheeks as well.
I haven't seen the basketball one. I know. I know Lexi's seen the basketball one, and actually, Lexi and Zavi saw it together. And Zavi's now a huge basketball fan. Like, he watches basketball now. So I think it's easier it's like an entry level to sports. It's like an entry drug, essentially. You watch the anime and then you get into the sport after, because you're like, wow, I like this anime. And I think going back to Nalu's question at the statement at the beginning, like, he doesn't know anyone to support and stuff like that. As I say, when it comes to this sort of stuff, just pick something. And it's easier when you're playing a game. And let's say, for example, you get a football game and you start a career mode and you create a character, or you pick a team, and it's better to pick a team, to be honest. You pick a team and then you pick a character, you start playing with that team. You set the game to the easiest difficulty, right? And you start playing the game. And what happens is that while you're playing, you're going to be hearing the names of those players constantly on that team that you pick. And what's going to happen in your brain, you're going to build a sort of like relationship with them,
Yeah.
And then once you've played a full season in the game, and either you've won or lost or whatever you've been through with that team, you're going to have players you hate because I passed the ball to you and you did shit, you piece of garbage. And then you're going to have players that you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he scored from that position. Brilliant. I pressed the shoot button and he did it for me. What a guy. Right. But the thing is that when you have those sort of players and all that kind of stuff in the in the game, right? You can then go out and essentially, I've played with this team in the game, I'll back this team in real life. Because that's why I started back in Real Madrid. I played with them in the game because I remember playing against some friends, And all my friends played with Barcelona at the time because, well, Ronaldinho was at Barcelona. Now, granted, I like Ronaldinho too, but I couldn't play with Ronaldinho because they all play in Barcelona. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pick the same team as them. I'll just pick what's the opposite of that team. And the opposite of Barcelona is Real Madrid. And so when I picked Real back then, I didn't know I was going to become a Real fan. I just picked it because it was the opposite. And then the more I started watching games for Real and I started to play the game with them, play with the players in the game, I started to learn the players' names. And I was like, holy shit. I didn't even like Cristiano Ronaldo back in the day, but he was at Real Madrid and then I became a Ronaldo fan. I was like, come on, my guy. CR7, brilliant, you know? But more so as I went through my career of like liking these sort of sports and stuff like that, I just became a fan of the sport more so than a fan of specific teams. So I am a Real Madrid fan, yes, but I put being a fan of football over being a fan of Real Madrid. Like, I can watch a Barcelona match and cheer for Barcelona, right? That's how much of a fan I am. Despite the fact that an average Real Madrid fan can't do that. They will want Barcelona to lose. I would watch a Barcelona match and cheer for Barcelona to win the match, essentially. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't do it if they're playing against Real Madrid, obviously, because I'll be back in Real Madrid.
No, because you'll be playing, you'll be back in your own team.
But with Barcelona, I can back a Barcelona match because I like the players at Barcelona. I like the ethos of Barcelona. I like the whole concept of their club. It's a club that's run by the people of Catalonia. You know, like they have ownership in that club. It's a club that essentially for years they've had like UNICEF and all this charity stuff on their shit instead of having a regular shit sponsor for years because of what they, their whole mantra or whatever they have behind their club. And also Thierry Henry played for that club, and Thierry Henry is my all-time favorite player of all time, so that even makes it even better. But the fact of the matter is, I like it's easy for me to like Barcelona. That being said, if they're playing against Real Madrid, screw those bastards. They're going home, right? So essentially, the fact of the matter is, it just comes down to stuff like that. And I think even if you're not into football or any sports, if you're watching sports anime, it's going to make it easier for you to get into because you learn the rules very easily in watching it in the anime. And then when you go to watch an actual match, you understand what's going on more so than you would understand if you didn't watch it. So like if I watch people cycling in real life, I would understand certain things that I understand from my experience cycling. But from watching cycling anime, I understand a shit ton more what's going on there. All right?
Yeah.
Like drafting and stuff like that, didn't understand it before I actually started watching the anime. And then I was like, holy shit.
Oh, okay. That's actually interesting to say. Actually, because obviously you knew more already, but that you're still learning stuff because of the anime as well.
The anime helped. The anime helped my actual cycling. Like I actually cycle better because of watching the anime because I'm seeing stuff that's going on in the anime and I'm thinking, oh, if I'm doing hills, I need to, like for example, dancing on the hill, right? When you see a cyclist going up the hill and the bike's kind of swaying, that's a technique. Yeah. That's a technique. Yeah. I thought it was just like a wiggly woggly thing, but it's a technique. And a lot of those things, like again, you'll see in this anime, you see a lot of football stuff that they'll mention and stuff like that is a part of the game, right? It is a part of actual football. And by watching it, you'll find more and more understanding. Like, for example, that whole thing where he's running on the line and he had to cross that ball over to that guy, that is a standard play that most players should make, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like if you see your guy open and the keeper is coming towards you and you've got a defender on your side, the smart place to cross to the guy on who's free. That's what you should do. He has the tap in. That guy should tap it in, right? But he didn't, right? Even our main character, the guy who played they said at the beginning of the anime, 3 guys are gonna go forward as the 3 guys are gonna get to represent Japan in the upcoming thing. The reason why you'd have 3 guys is because in a football team, for most football teams that play a 3-4-3 kind of formation or something like that, you'd have 3 people up front, a left wing, a right wing, and a striker. And their numbers matter. Number 11 is a left wing position. That's like Cristiano Ronaldo. And our guy, Isagi, he does rock a number 11. He's actually that's a right wing position. Sorry. So he does play.
Wait, that actually matters. I thought numbers were just like. No. What's your favorite number?
Players can choose a random number, but essentially the numbers, most players use the number based on their position. So number 9 is a striker number. People who play in the center forward position play in the middle of the field, going forward to score. They usually wear number 9. Number 7 is usually like a wing on the left, like players like Neymar, Ronaldo. They would usually wear number 7. Kylian Mbappe if they're coming up the wing. Number 10 is like your attack midfielder. That's the guy who's he's part of the forward line, but he's also pinging balls in, and he's in the attack midfield position. So he'll be like a number 10. That's like your Messi's or your De Bruyne's or Beckham, right? Those guys tend to play that kind of role and so forth. Number 10. So the numbers do matter.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
They do bring up something later in the anime, which it's not a spoiler, but they do touch on how certain certain players play from like midfield, and then they do go like for more of aggressive plays. That's
an attack midfielder. That's an attack midfielder. So that's like a Leo Messi. Leo Messi's position is naturally an attack midfield position, essentially.
Actually, they also mention. I'm not
mention if you have to mention a player, it's fine. It's not going to be a spoiler for me. But
no. It's not about a player, but they do mention how football is very different than another sport. I'm not going to say too much because it is about another episode, but how football becomes more complex than most sports, and why basically it's like why football is so enjoyable is because most sports have a very specific sort of thing, whereas football you can kind of like when you have that raw nature, especially like how they had to play that first I don't know if I'm gonna mention anything from the fucking episode, but I'm gonna mention it from like a football standpoint and not from like the anime standpoint, but how football you can change how the gameplay can change depending on like you have strikers and stuff, but who's to say a striker might not go and defend one time? You know what I mean? Like
there are different types of strikers. So for example, like there's some strikers are like point men, right? So essentially like a striker like Lukaku, like Romelu Lukaku is a point man kind of striker. Like you play the ball to him and he's usually sitting around the box. Cristiano Ronaldo right now is a point man striker. Like essentially he's a target man. You play the ball to him, Ronaldo's going to score. Those guys like Lukaku and Ronaldo and stuff like that, they're not running around the field doing much of anything. They're looking for the ball to be played into them, right?
Into them,
then you have like goal poachers, people like Karim Benzema, right? And players like Robert Lewandowski, or even more so like Kylian Mbappe. These guys are more likely than not, they're probably sitting on your back line, like waiting for that ball to be played, and they're running in behind you. Right? And they are just looking for goals. They are constantly moving towards the goalpost and constantly pressing the back line. So they're stressing your back. Those defenders in the back, they're stressing those guys out because they're just waiting for a ball to be played into them to start running.
Right, okay.
Right? A target man is not doing that. A target man is waiting for the play to catch up to them. So the ball is being pinged around and they're moving towards the box. And while they're in the box with everyone else, then play the ball into them. Right? Or you cross it into them and they're just coming in, just streaking in perfectly just to get it in with a tapping with a header or whatever have you. Then you have like, for example, a deep line striker who's someone like, for example, like what's this guy named from Liverpool? I can't remember his name. Anyway, basically their position, the way they play is they sit a bit deep. So instead of going forward into the box, because they're in the center forward position, what they tend to do is they tend to sit back, hold the ball up, and let the guys coming off the wings, like your number 11s and your number 7 guys, those guys cut into the box and they cross it into them. So with Liverpool, you find the Liverpool striker, whose name I can't remember right now for some reason, he would usually do that to his wingers coming in. At the time, it used to be Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. He used to do that for. So he'd basically draw attention to himself. Defenders would go to him and then he'd just cross it in while the others are just running off the wings, essentially. But he's in the middle of the field doing it, right? Not coming in from the sides. And and then you have from I think there's one other former striker. I think there's I think it's a advancing striker. But yeah, I can't remember how they play. Anyway, the point is that you've got different ways you can play that position. And some forwards will defend as they do. And the same as some defenders will attack, like a defender like Sergio Ramos for Paris Saint-Germain. He's the kind of defender that you will find in the opposition box a lot because he's running up the field to try and score headers because he's got really good heading, right?
Right.
And so based on their skill set, some players will play different, even from a striking rule, from a forward playing rule, they will move back, or some players from a midfield rule will move forward, right? And they will play different, ping different balls, like Fede Valverde for Real Madrid. And Uruguay is a midfielder, traditionally speaking, but Valverde plays like a forward winger. The guy is broken. Like just Google Fede Valverde goals for this season. The guy has been taking shots from anywhere on the field. Like all of his goals, almost every single goal he scored this season has come from outside the box. And the guy is he's got a cannon for a foot, right? He's got a cannon for a foot. He's insane, right? And he's perfect. And he also, as a midfielder, he can pick a pass. But then he's dangerous if he gets a ball and just a little bit of space. He's going to take a shot. And your keeper is going to be crying after, right? So, yeah, I have to say, like, this anime does cover stuff like that, and it does a good job of it. It does a really good job of staying genuine to the actual sport itself of football.
Sport itself. Okay, yeah. That's actually one of my questions. How, like, I mean, that's how it all started, right? With me asking you, like, there's this whole like the ego's way to think and all these things, and again, like with the whole, making everything a little bit extreme because it's anime, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, these dudes are probably gonna be like blasting balls or actually like have like fire around them, at some point, just maybe not to that extent, but like because it's anime, they would, anime again. Why we enjoy it is because they emphasize emotions, feelings, attacks. Like someone getting smashed through a wall or whatever. Like sure, that might actually happen in the anime, but someone like Anzu, for example, I'm not going to talk about her too much, but like her, like basically being able to like smash someone through a window, like this is just generic anime tropes that we all love. And obviously, if you guys are here and you guys are watching anime already and you guys love anime, that's why you're here. And you can resonate with me or whatever or like feel me, in that sense. In terms of like loving anime and loving things about it, at least. Obviously, stories and characters and character developments and stuff are all great, but and the anime style is what makes it unique from other sorts of media. I had a few questions for you. I know you don't want to have like a really interviewee podcast, but I have a few questions because I find this very interesting. Because for me, this is more like how to put it. It's like I find it more interesting because you see how we did like the whole like Goblin Slayer and all those other anime, which you guys go check those out. Those episodes, we have covered them. They resonate with me a bit more. Like even I feel like the last few episodes have been more about stuff that I like, and this is one that I feel like obviously this is like right up your your alley, right? But I did want to ask you, what is your favorite? Like what was your favorites? Like maybe I will go back and watch it myself. This is why I'm asking, by the way, because when I was watching the anime, I was like, I wonder what cues. And this is the question, right? So what is your favorite game? Like your favorite football match ever? Like I feel like everyone has to have a favorite match or a favorite food or favorite color. Like most people,
like real life football match.
Like your favorite real life match. What is your favorite real life match? I don't have one myself.
I think it would have been that Champions League final where Real Madrid won La Decima. I think that was insane.
Right, okay.
So
I don't want you to spoil it because I actually want to know. I want to maybe watch it myself, So if you could say without maybe spoiling for me,
you could just Google La Decima. La Decima.
You'll have to type it for me in the Discord chat here.
I think it's Spanish for number to like the 10th or something like that. I think that's what it's called. But when you search La Decima, what actually comes up in Google is the 2014 Champions League final, Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. And the emotion and especially the build up to it. I think what makes these sort of things so even better is when you watch them with like in a documentary series where they go over like what was happening leading up to there and stuff like that. I think there's one they've done. There's an Arsenal documentary series on Amazon Prime Video, which is so good. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's so good. So I would say La Decima was probably, for me, the best football match I've seen, like my favorite match I've watched. Because of the fact Real Madrid hadn't won the Champions League like that. Like in the sense, like they made it to the final and it was like, it was so intense leading up to that final. What was going to happen between Real and Atleti? And Real and Atleti are rival teams. In the sense that Atletico and Real Madrid, they occupy the same city. They're both from the same city and they play against each other, right? And essentially in this match, right, the match starts where essentially Atletico score in the early in the game. And for the whole bloody game, Real Madrid does not score. Like, the whole stinking game. Nothing. They move the ball around. They do everything. Nothing happens, right?
Nothing happens.
For the whole stinking game. And then 90 minutes comes, end of the game, right? 3 minutes to go, and 3 minutes of added time. Added time is that time that the referee adds on for, like, you know, if someone gets injured or sent off or they make substitutions and all, that's that added time. So you've got 3 minutes of added time added to the 90. In that 3 minutes, Sergio Ramos, the clutch of a centre back, that's the same centre back I said who runs up the field. Ramos scores a header, right? Mr. 90 minutes. He's the captain at the time of the team. 90-minute header goes in. The whole stadium erupts into just pure euphoria. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. My sister is watching this with me. She's screaming at the top of her lungs. We're jumping around the house. I've grabbed my sister over my shoulders. I'm running around screaming. My mom is like, what the frack is going on in there? My neighbors can hear this from, and I can hear, because my neighbors are watching the Champions League as well. They can hear me. They know I'm a Real Madrid fan. They're hearing me screaming at the top of my lungs. It goes into extra time now because both teams have one goal now, right? So they've got to play an extra 20 minutes, right? So essentially it's an hour, and so it's sorry, not an extra 20 minutes. The game usually ends at 90 minutes and it goes to 120 minutes of a match, right? And in that 120 minutes, 110 minutes in, Gareth Bale scores, right? And it goes mental because now Real Madrid have the lead. They are now winning this match, right? And then you get another goal from Marcelo, and in the last minute of the game, Cristiano Ronaldo scores, and that's it. At that point in time, the match is over. Real Madrid have won La Decima. And it was mental. Let me just tell you. It was mental, right? So I would say for me, the best football match I've ever watched, La Decima. Especially that last minute, like the fact that they scored in the 90th minute to actually take the game into extra time and then win it in extra time. My God. Wow, what a game. That is what you call it.
After that, if they didn't score, would they have gone into penalties then?
No, if they both had one goal each and then they hadn't scored yet, it would have gone to penalties after extra time.
But what if they both had 0, let's say?
Penalties.
No penalties.
It will go to extra. It's 0-0. Once the score is a draw, you go to extra time. Right, and then once you get through extra time and it's still a draw, then you go to penalties, and that only happens in knockout football, like tournaments like the World Cup and Champions League. If it's just regular league football, like just playing for the season, then you just have a draw. Because in league football, they give you points basically. Each match carries a specific amount of points. A loss is 0 points, a draw is 1 point, and a win is 3 points. So essentially, they're trying to get as many points to win the title. Basically, the more points you have, you win the title. Essentially.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, so
go on. No. Finish it.
No, I was just saying. So that's just basically that was the best match I've ever seen. But go on with the next question.
So what's your favorite? This might tie with my other question, but what's your favorite position on football? Like, are you a striker fan, defender, like goalkeeper, defender, whatever? What's your favorite? What is your favorite position in terms of like which you appreciate the most, or which would you like to play, and all the other good stuff?
For me,
because obviously you like all of them. But,
when I played, I was more of a. I want to think I was, if I remember correctly, I think I was more like a left back or a left mid player. So I played on the left hand side, but more defensively. I wasn't a striker. And the thing is, because I had a good, and for me, I had very good defensive mindset. I was a battler, right? I was taking your feet out, you know.
Okay.
But I scored goals, but I guess I played similar to like someone like an Alphonso Davies or something like that. I was quick, and you couldn't get past me really. But if I got a chance, I was taking it, you know.
Right. Okay. Of course.
So I would say for me that would probably be my best position as a player. If I had to say my favorite position to watch. In the game, if I'm playing it as like eFootball, then it's definitely left wing. Like my left winger is probably my actually wait no. My right wing, sorry. Right wing is probably my right wing is probably because like on
you
my
have to excuse Q, you know, he's still going through the learning phase of tying his shoes.
No. I was thinking about the player I scored the most goals with in the game, and it's usually Kolachevsky who cuts in from the right wing. Okay. So
Okay.
Kulusevski is Swedish, by the way. So
Right.
he's my favorite. He's my favorite right wing striker on my team. Because he has a perfect, like, the way I've leveled him up on my team in eFootball, he has a perfect curling shot. So
Right, okay.
Kulachevs is my guy. Other than
So
Kulachevs,
that leads into my third question then. Who's your favorite player? Like an actual player?
current favorite player and all-time favorite player are two different players. So my all-time favorite is Thierry Henry, which I've already mentioned before. He's French. Thierry Henry is the guy.
Which team does he play for? With?
He used to play for France, and he also used to play for Barcelona as well as the New York Red Bulls and Arsenal.
New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, he played for he made his name as an Arsenal player playing on the
did he not play on PSG? Like with the same team that's not
Thierry Henry didn't play for PSG. No, he played.
He's French, right?
He is French. When he played in France, he played with. I think he played at Lyon. Was it? I think it was Lyon. Thierry Henry played.
Okay. That's crazy.
Because I think he's a Paris-born player.
Right.
Let me see.
You'll have to give us the intricacies of this because I obviously I don't know these people, but
so Thierry Henry is like he's a famous striker from back in the day. He used to represent Arsenal. That was the team he made his breakout for. You know, he became like his name. He won his name at Arsenal. But prior to that, he used to play for Monaco actually and Juventus. He played for Juventus as well. I didn't even know that actually. So he played for Juventus and he played for Monaco prior to that, right? Monaco was his French team, essentially, which he became a coach and he did coach Monaco as well at some point in time. And he's actually coaching the Belgium national team right now in the World Cup. He's like their substitute coach or something like that, like their assistant coach, right? So he's not the main coach, but he's the assistant coach. But he is an actual coach. He's coached a couple teams before, and he is an insanely good player. So when he played for Arsenal, that's where he did his best. He broke a bunch of records, and I think that was around the time when Arsenal became the Invincibles.
Can you spell his name for me? And I'm not sure if I'm
ThierryHenry. So Thierry Henry. So he's
right, okay.
He's such a class. I used to have a hairstyle like him when I was younger because I used to have bald hair, and people used to tell me I looked like Thierry Henry on the football field, and I was like, yes, that was very awesome, because he's my favorite player. So
that's crazy.
So he was Thierry Henry. He's a broken good player. He was like you look at highlight reels of Thierry Henry playing. The guy had this way. He looked like he was moving slowly, but he was actually way too quick for his own good. And he has this thing he used to do. It's sort of like no look pass, where he used to just pass the ball without like. The way he used to pass the ball to the side of him, it was insane because
it was like bullshit.
It was bullshit because it was like he put no effort into the pass, but that ball had pace, right? And
I see. It's like a what they call like a softball or some shit in like bowling or baseball or whatever. Where like it comes in, it kind of doesn't like fly at you. So you the timing on batting it probably would. I see what you're saying. I'm not a baseball fan.
The way he kicks the ball, it looks like he's kicking it soft, because you don't even see it happening. But then the ball just skims across the field at a pace to get to the person he wants to get to.
Right,
and
I see.
Also the way he used to dip his shoulders and just get past people, insanely good at dribbling. Just a pure monster to play against. Thierry Henry was back in it. So. He's my all-time favorite player. My current favorite player in the world right now is probably Karim Benzema, Karim the Dream. I'd probably say Karim the Dream from Real Madrid, which he has to sit out the World Cup because he got injured just like yesterday or something like that, which is so unfortunate because the Dream needed to win it. But yeah, Karim the Dream, he's out.
And he plays for Real Madrid, you said? Sorry?
Real Madrid, yeah. He's a Real Madrid player, and he's French as well.
He's French, okay.
He's French.
Interesting.
I would say
France was some good players as well.
I would say outside of that, I think if I had to pick like other players that I am a big fan of, but they're not my favorite, but I am a huge fan of theirs. Obviously, Messi and Ronaldo, big fan of both of them. They're just those two are just like legends in their own right, and I think anything like
Ronaldinho as well, I guess, pretty.
I don't really like Ronaldinho as much. Like I like Ronaldinho, but not as much. He's not like on like I don't rate him as much because I feel like Ronaldinho was wasted potential because he partied too much. I feel like he could have been way better, but he just wasn't dedicated to his form. And I think that's the difference. Like Messi had a point in time where he started to go down the wagon, where he was drinking all kind of like Pepsi and junk food and all that kind of stuff.
It's very interesting to
and
hear you're very passionate.
He got sick during a match or something like that, and he started throwing up and all that kind of stuff. And he changed his whole diet. And the fact that he could see that he's doing something wrong and change it so that he could continue playing, that shows dedication to his craft. Ronaldinho just kept going on with his party. He didn't give a shit, right?
I appreciate.
So even though Ronaldinho had more talent than probably every one of those other players mentioned, he just didn't put his talent to good use. In the sense that he could have done way. I'm not saying Ronaldinho didn't do anything. The guy won pretty much everything he could win, but he could have done more. He could have been all-time best, but he doesn't come up in the all-time best player of all time because of the fact that he didn't put himself out there to do much more. Miss Yao with Zlatan. I like Zlatan. Zlatan's one of my favorite players as well. But Zlatan isn't. I think Zlatan would have been better if he wasn't a different.
He's way shorter than me though, so
I think Zlatan spent too much time playing for PSG, and that PSG at the time just did not have a good enough team around Zlatan for Zlatan to do what Zlatan does.
I didn't even know
because basically he was just carrying that team the whole time. And him representing Sweden as well. I felt like that Swedish generation that played with Zlatan weren't as good as the generation now. Like I think the Swedish generation is way better than the one that played with Zlatan. Like right now they've got Alexander Isak, they've got Kulusevski. They've got quite a few players that represent Sweden right now who are playing for top clubs and are really good. Right? Whereas when Zlatan played, he was kind of the guy, and everyone else was kind of like feeding him the ball. It's kind of like Messi in the previous Argentina teams.
But
they were pretty much trash, and it was just Messi. Like they were just feeding Messi. Whereas now Messi has a team of players who are good and can play with him. And that's why Argentina has been undefeated in like 30-something matches so far recently.
Like as much as I wanted to
they've
probably
actually got good players around their catalyst player, essentially.
Forcing her or like getting her to do that kind of stuff.
So that's what I would say.
Honestly, that's my thing.
I used to be a fan of Dwight York, but after I found out about his whole family situation, that he's an estranged dad to his kid and all that kind of stuff, I don't read Dwight York anymore. Like as a player, he was really good, but as a person, I can't speak to that. So to me, I don't rate him as much as I used to. He was a Man United legend and a Trinidad and Tobago legend as well, but I don't rate him anymore because of his family.
I want it to be like all these three things, like physical.
I'm just like, I'm not bothered.
Or just if she's one of them, that would be great as well. Like if she's just like,
I would say currently, I do like Kylian Mbappe, but he does have a huge ego, and I think like his ego is getting in the way of his play.
Games anymore, like
I mean, I still rate him. I like what's his name again? What's this guy who plays for?
Branches into being dentist or something. But if she could do something when she's like in her 20s,
I like Haaland a lot. I like Haaland.
I would say like
he's awesome.
Like I love to run, and I want to go jogging.
But I think there's a lot of players I like watching play. Vinny Jr.
She's really fast already right now, but I really want to.
I mentioned Fede Valverde earlier. Ansu Fati from Spain,
which is weird because I never thought I would hear myself saying that.
Fati,
having a 2-year-old is
Pedri from Spain as well, brilliant player.
That is crazy to think about now. Like seeing it all, I guess. But
Ivan Lozano
the female version of Usain Bolt or something.
From Mexico, brilliant player, and he also plays for
the father of Lucky, and I'll be like, yes,
for Napoli.
That is my daughter. Yes, I'm proud. Yes, I know she's fast.
I actually never really liked Zizou that much. Like I know Zizou was good, but I never really rated Zizou. Honestly, never really. I rate him more as a coach than as a player. Let's put it that way.
But yeah, I really do hope.
Who else did I like a lot?
Something actually I wrote down.
And I think with Zizou, he tarnishes his image as well with that whole headbutt thing in the World Cup.
I can't wait for it to become
his final World Cup.
I feel like from watching the last World, I'm just like, man, all these.
Are you speaking?
Mercedes, obviously, they like those big companies would sponsor them, but now it's like it's so much more,
can you hear me?
And people are taking it more serious, and you can actually make a career off of it.
I think my headset
I do feel like the wage is not the best
this whole time.
It's not like it's not like a footballer wage.
Give me a second. My headset
there's
died.
so much riding on it, and people.
If you guys have been hearing me going on
that's something that would
tangents,
you see money.
Without noticing that we're saying something, that's because my headset died.
Whatever.
Holy shit.
That shit is just going to become better and better. The prize pool is going to become better. The kind of quality and the wage that the players can get. I think that would make it more lucrative. So if my daughter ever does decide to do, or if I have another kid, maybe a son or something, ever decides to do, I'll just be like, hell yeah, I would support your ass. Like I would definitely. I want you to do your homework first, obviously, but after that, then yeah, you can can knock it out, because I do think that's the future. Both sports and
you guys
sports,
overlapping for a while.
This is definitely
my headset
that's something for everyone, and I like that about our human existence, I guess.
Okay, my headset's back. My headset is back. All this time, Ray, I was talking and my headset died.
Right.
And so we were overlapping with each other. So what people were hearing was us talking to
right.
But it was actually so all the time that I went silent when I was whatever I was saying.
So did you get picked up on?
I don't know. Wait. What was the last thing you heard me say? I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh shit! So all of that just like didn't go through.
Well, they heard everything, but they were hearing us both speaking at the same time. So
oh boy, that's weird. I was going on a tangent about stuff. We'll see how it goes in the episode. But anyways, I was just saying that how esports is developing and about my kid and a few other stuff. We'll have to like re-listen to the episode.
That's gonna be weird at the end, but it is what it is. All right, so I think we have a podcast. I think that's it. That should be good.
Yeah, I think for my final words, apart from just saying final words, I'd have to say we talked about 1 to 2 episodes here, right? And again, please go check out the next week's episode or Wednesday's episode or however you would like to get it worded to you.
Mm-hmm.
Go check that out that week. And for me personally, I think this is probably one of the most enjoyable episodes we've had.
I hated it. Disgusting.
Yeah. And I didn't think I would actually like this anime so much. So for me, so far, what I've seen, I'm not going to spoil anything, but so far, I think it's actually, I'm going to give it, I had low expectations, so maybe I'm going to give it too high of a point, but I think, you told me to just give it what you think, because that's your honest opinion. And in my opinion, I think I would actually give it I would obviously give it an 8.5, but if I had to round it off, I'd probably give it a 9, actually. I think so far it was actually that great. I think
solid.
I think, yeah, definitely. I know I'm giving, I'm probably going to skew the metrics on all these websites at some point if they ever allow me to like put my own opinion, which some of them do, But yeah, I think it was great, really great so far. I can't wait to see the rest. It's obviously not even out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Only 7 from this recording, guys, and people listening in post. Only 7 episodes have been out, as well as well, I was just talking about these 2 episodes right now. So we have 7 episodes currently live at this point in time, and then
it's probably gonna end. I think the last episode will probably air by the time the World Cup ends. So
World Cup ends. All right.
It will coincide with that because it's only 5 more episodes to finish up the season. So yeah.
Just 12 episodes total, right? Or
that's what anime is usually. A season is usually 12 episodes. So
okay. Because I actually, what's funny, when I went into it first, I was watching, I was thinking, oh, it's only 6. I thought it was a 6-episode anime, and I was like, oh, that's sad. It's like half of a normal season.
No.
And then I saw episode 7 pop up, and I was like I did the whole like The Rock, like looking at you with raising one eyebrow. Like, wait, they just grew? Like, are they multiplying? So I ended up watching, and I was like, wait a minute, who the fuck are you? And I was actually kind of excited because I was like,
you smell what the rare is cooking.
You smell what the rare. But you know what's crazy?
What's
I watched it, and I was thinking to myself when I first watched, I was like this is gonna be like, they're gonna train, and then it's gonna be like like I'm not saying I went into it pessimistically, right? I never go into these anime pessimistically.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I was younger, right? But now I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it and I was thinking, it's gonna have 12, it's gonna have 6 episodes, because that's what I saw. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it's going to do this, and this, and then on the 6th episode, it's going to be like the final match, and then he's just going to win. But there's a 7th episode, so it like really skewed my brain. I did find I did actually watch the first episode, and I think maybe the 2nd episode with my missus. She didn't want to watch it more because it was like late in that evening, and then I ended up watching the other.
You would think as a Brazilian, she would be huge into this because Brazilians are so about their football.
She doesn't like anime that much. So,
but she watches football, doesn't she? I mean, she's Brazilian.
Yeah. She definitely loves football.
Is she back? So she's back in Brazil for the World Cup right now.
I would say so. Yeah. Why? I mean, I didn't really ask her, but I would imagine. Yeah. I would have to tell you next episode.
Well, you need to after this. Is she awake right now?
No, she goes to bed right when I start the podcast.
Well, so here's the thing, right? Tomorrow when you get up in the morning, you wake up and you ask her, like, who is her favorite Brazilian player in the football? Like, you start interrogating her as soon as she wakes up and opens her eyes. Listen to me. Let me tell you something, woman, right?
Me and Lumpy, when she gets up in the morning, me and Lumpy are like snuggling and cuddling and dead asleep. She's already like leaving the house.
All right, well, you call her while she didn't work. You said, let me tell you something, woman, right? Q has some questions about this Brazilian team that you have here. Mm-hmm. You know, actually, Brazil has probably the best team in the tournament right now, but just saying.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna back Sweden, obviously, and then Brazil whenever they do play. And if it's between them, then oh god, I don't know. If it's me, like if it ever comes to Brazil versus Sweden, I think I'm
gonna have to back Poland as well.
I would tell Milena that I'm back in Brazil. Don't worry, but that I'll like put my hand behind my back and my finger over, like cross my finger. You know,
you be like Sweden. Come on, Kolachevsky.
No, my favorite player is actually Cristiano Ronaldo.
Really?
Who is playing for Portugal, right? Because he's Portuguese.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. Pretty sure.
Cristiano Ronaldo is not Portuguese. Cristiano Ronaldo is from, what do you call this country again? I can't remember. He's not Portuguese,
Argentina?
No, Argentina is Messi.
Wait, am I seeing the right player? Wait, one second. I'm pretty sure it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's on the Cristiano Ronaldo. Where is he from? Let's see. Yeah, Portuguese professional footballer. Yeah,
the fact that you actually had to Google it. Oh my god, you are not a Cristiano Ronaldo fan.
No. He is like you actually
believed me. You believed me, and the fact that you did, not a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, bootleg.
But you know, you could play for a team and not.
You're a Wagonist. Wagonist. How could you not know he's Portuguese?
No, because I don't care where people are from.
Wagonist, I see.
I care about seeing, bro. When that man fucking ran and those thighs showed up through his pants, bro, I was just like, damn, bro. Like, not damn. I wanted to smash, but like, damn, bro. Like, if I had gone to the gym a bit more, because I have some fucking thighs, right? And I used to run really fast, which I want to talk about that, but on the next episode, we'll be talking about that. But you know, I don't want to say too much. But,
okay, let's wrap it up because I do have another podcast I have to do right after this. So
no, fuck that podcast. You're staying right here.
We're 2 hours and 24 minutes in, mate. This is
Look,
too long.
Listen. I'm gonna wrap it up, okay?
My
favorite player is Cristiano. He the best. We the best. But I'm still gonna support Brazil and probably Sweden. But you know, just a shame that he wasn't Swedish or Brazilian. It's gonna be easier.
You know, we all say that, you know, if Zlatan was Trini, amazing.
Oh my god.
So okay.
Anyways, that being said, it was a pleasure again to have you guys. Thanks for watching, and let Q and the final words. Any final words, Q?
Final words, if you want to find us, you can find us at Simply Binge UK, Simply Binge, pretty much everywhere else at Simply Binge. You can find me at LP Garden, that's Garden Delta U. You can find Rare at Rare Entry, that's with the trees instead of E's. And pretty much find us in all that podcasty goodness. Give us a like, a subscribe, and all that kind of good stuff. And you can find us streaming and stuff like that in the week on Twitch if you want to check us out over on there. I stream on Simply Binge, Rare Streams and Rare Entry. And with that, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. You people are brilliant. Rare is a pleb. Football is amazing. And who you backing for the World Cup? Of course, we're backing whatever team I back. So pretty much, yeah. With that, guys, hope you guys enjoy. And I'll see you guys, or we will, you know, myself and Nalu. I don't know about Ray. In the next one. Peace.